on the Mount Rushmore, which we didn't show again today. I don't think Sharif got to see the Mount Rushmore, so maybe we should pull that one up for him.
Yeah, he wasn't here. He has no idea.
We'll be back at 2 o'clock. Someone show it to Sharif.
See ya.
Hey, he didn't see it.
Boom! What is up, beautiful people? Oh, my bad. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy, Joey Options, and I am Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to find their way on over from the other stream. You're already back in.
Well, yeah, I like the market possibly topping here, Sharif. There's a lot. Okay, we're gonna talk about this stuff because we got a lot going on. I got to talk about what we had cooking up here in Tesla. We might have to hop out of this trade here momentarily, but then we also got a VPA signal here on the TQ. So we're gonna look to take advantage of this one once again here, folks. But Sharif, it's roll call, my guy. It's time to finish what we had.
All right, baby. We got Daniel. Are those shoes still available? We got drops trades. We got Dinkelberg. How about Clint Hamilton, Dexter Smith? We got Sir David of Smooch a lot. Okay, bro. We got Pizza Rat Nephew with a capital P, my man. We got social insurance number in there. Shout out to Pedro Khan, Young Talent, the Great. We got Mary. We got Vern. We got Johnny. How about Pizza Rat, your boy? We got Blue Arrow, Juan Padilla, and Eric. Adara's in the chat. Oh, my God. Cristobal, Monty G. We got Gorev, your boy. Well, he's everybody's boy. He's an OG. He's Dan Gale. Yeah. Who else we got, my man? We got Hondo Man, Greg VR. We got Common Sense. I like that. Shout out to Holly, Caleb, Brenrek, Spark Shop. Who else, man? The Piper. Some new names. Throw your name in there. Shout out to the OG, Jay Lee, Fatty. We got, F. Ziadi, Pete Rock, Astra, not AstraZeneca, calm down. Oh, we got Brian Donnell, Katina, man. Stay cozy, baby. We got Ozan yelling China already, Ozan. Ozan, you must love the thumbnail for today's show. You got your boy Shi on top of there. We got Rookie Trader, Pax. How about Dude Rocks 420? 420 was on the weekend, wasn't it? Sadiq, Ralph, Greg, YY, Maddie Low, 952. One more, Joseph. Apple G King, shout out to all the OGs, all the kings and the queens in the chat. Thank you for joining Joseph and I on this Thursday. Joseph, you got something cooking there. Let me know what's up.
Let's see what we got going on here, guys. A lot to talk about. There's no doubt about that one on this front. Let's see if the Qs are going to squeeze, but I want to talk about this Tesla trade a little bit here and just why I decided to stick in it a little bit longer and what the options chain was exactly telling me. So you can see that we have a lot of open interest around that 260 strike, and then that's where I was essentially aiming for here. So you can see we start really slow, we add to the position, guys, and then we add, we start here quite aggressively, and then we add to the position, and then we take it all the way to the top side. So that is that here, and then we take it out, and then we got out at VWAP, maybe a little bit prematurely, but that's okay. If it were to crack, then I would have got out of that position anyway. So that one's that. Nice trade there on TSLS. But then here we go on SQQs. I'm long on this. Why am I long here? Because we have some potential topping signals. I want to see if we can defend this print right here. This is extremely, extremely important. I already took one short on it, but it looks like the market wants to squeeze. If we crack it to the top side, I'm out of the trade because it does look like the market wants to continue to rally. But we did get that initial move to the downside. You see that isolated volume signature right here and that indecision print, guys. So that's why I decided to go long the SQQs. That would be at the bottom of this. But it does, considering that we're at this point in this, across this, I guess, this candle print here, this price action print, I do believe once you've exceeded a certain amount, usually 50% of the candle, then we squeeze. So I wouldn't be surprised here momentarily if some of these big names really got the ball rolling and we squeeze past this, and I'm going to get out of dodge on this trade because I'm not going to be fighting any trends today whatsoever. We already had a small trade on the SQs. We're going to go over that right now, and we're just looking for that second entry and for these highs to hold, but it doesn't look like it here. That's when you heard Neil. I'm like trying to take some out, and that's when you heard heard Neil be like, oh, nothing was working. I'm like, why aren't any of my executions working? And then sure enough, I eventually got stopped out break even. Look for that hold, and then we enter once again, but now we're starting to go back towards the south side. So we're going long here in the Qs itself. So I'm long SQs, so synthetically short the market. And if we crack this, then I'm going to get out of dodge. But this engulfing candle right here does not look good there, Sharif.
I like how you...
Hold on. Short seller, Joe is wrong. Where am I wrong? Please elaborate at what point am I wrong? No, because here, if I'm wrong, then where was I wrong here? Please elaborate a little bit more there, short smeller. There you go. Was I wrong here? I don't think so.
Tell him, Joe.
I'm being honest. Was I wrong here? I don't think so. May I be wrong here? Yeah, okay. So what? That's okay. You may be wrong too. So there it is.
I love it. Usually it's me getting all bent out of shape. You're a cool customer, bro. No one can rat at your cage. Me, I'm just yelling at everybody. I like to yell. Okay, can you tell? All right, guys, here's what I'm looking at today, baby. We're involved in one right now, AMBP. I'm weaseled into this one. This is a 10 exponential on the 5 pullback. I'm looking at adding into the volume-weighted average price. It's up 26.5%. I like the look, but I want to talk about this one. This one I traded yesterday, and it was way, way lower than the current price. CEP, it's still very spready. Waiting. There it is. There, I was waiting for that.
I'm trying to be respectful.
I know.
You always say, oh, they moved.
Adira, I don't like change of tradition. Right? You know what I mean? I'm a very habitual person. So are you, by the way. So shout out to Adira. No, here's what we're actually looking at right now. CEP. We took a couple of, took $1 on this one for a couple of outs there, a few outs actually. It's still doing the dance between, I want to say, the 10 exponential and that $34 level. For whatever reason, $34 is acting as an intraday area of resistance. It's been once, twice, OB thrice, and now we're on the 4th attempt to take out 34. Sure, we wicked above 34, but we can't close above 34. And you've heard me wax poetic multiple times about the closing prints being the more important of the prints. These intra-candle prints, wicks up, wicks down below key levels, do not get me going over here. I need that closing print love. So $34, a hard road to hoe right now above that level. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. It's already a triple-digit winner, baby. It's 102%. It's a second-day runner. This thing was running yesterday, but it still has that same problem, as I mentioned, a wider spread and very volatile. As you can see, this thing wicked up into 39, dropped down into 28. Imagine bag holding that $10 against you. We know how these small cap gappers are traded. Big shares for small movements, right? This one may be a bit of an exception because giving you dollars, but you're likely to size into this anyway. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. Very interested in a breakout trade above 34. We're positive on it. Hopefully we'll do a little bit better. Now, the current one that I'm on, AMBP, definitely not as aggressive of a move as your friend CEP, but holding at there's two reasons I'm in this at this level. One, it's at that $half level. We've seen this story before. These $half can be psychological areas of either support or resistance. In addition to it being the $half level, it is pulling back into the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. And the last time it did that, it caught a bit of a bid. Now, this one did move up into 350. Again, met resistance at 350, dropped down into 3 1/3, and then made that new high at 360. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to weasel my way in here the best way I know how, and that's to get in at the 10 exponential. That isn't my only plan for this trade. Let me make my case. I am very interested in adding more. Couple of reasons. One, it's strong. Two, the 10 exponential and the volume weighted average price awfully close together. That gives me more of an opportunity to add more without being too much out of the money, right? Because VWAP to me is the better retracement level than the 10. Most of the time, it's not a hard and fast rule. So that's what I'm looking at right now. As you'll see there on my screen, that baby blue white, or that baby blue line with the circle, that is a planned dollar cost average on AMBP. So that's my look. Back to CEP over here, because it's still zigging. It's still zagging, a little above 33, a little bit below. The point is, it's below $34. I'm all ears and eyes, and everything else for that 34 break on a closing basis. Now, before we send it back to Joe so he can yell back at that guy, I want to talk about the other ones that I've got over here. I'm playing with you, bro. AREB, shout out to my man Buvin. Buvin, I always call him my other pair of eyes, baby. Keep your eye out for your boy Buvin's levels in the chat and his call-outs as well for what's moving. He likes AREB, but Buvin has different rules than I do. He's okay taking these bad boys long below the volume-weighted average price. That's not something I do. Okay, so I told Buvin in the chat this is going to have to weasel above. I'm talking about AREB here, that ARAB money, above that 415, 420-ish area. That gets it above VWAP, then we can have a discussion at that time. SERV, another one we were trading yesterday. This one looked like it flat bottom broke, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high, with that VWAP area acting as an area low, an area support. Then all hell broke loose to the downside, as typically is the case with these flat bottom breaks. Lo and frickin' behold, though, it finds support at 6 1/3, and it's right back into that 6 1/2, trying to reclaim the volume-weighted average price. So I'm keeping my eye on that. CERO will lose its spot on the side chart here momentarily. It's breaking down well below VWAP, and it looks like it's going to lose the dollar as well. Caught a couple of weird ones over here. UMAC, whatever. Looks like it's kind of bull flagging over here at 6 1/3. If it sets up well at 615, which is where VWAP is, I'm all ears and eyes. VSH as well. This one, bull flagging a little bit up into that 12 3/4. If it wants to find support at 1255, where VWAP is, I'm game as well. So those are the ones I'm keeping my eye on today. Now, as you know, though, if you've been watching this for a hot minute, they're very fluid. I'm talking about these side charts. They could lose their position on the side chart, and we can substitute something else. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Those are the 8 small cap gappers that we've got on watch, Joseph. We're involved with AMBP right now, and we're technically 4 pennies out of the money, but that's all right because we're looking at DCAing Adara. What's up?
Give some insight here on UMAC. You said that ticker and it triggered something in my memory. I looked it up to confirm, and it is correct. Unusual Machines, or UMAC, Donald Trump Jr. has been appointed to their board. So that ran back in December on that news. So yeah, this is one of the stocks that Donald Trump Jr., or DJTJ as he is sometimes called, is on the board of. So that is, I guess, one connection here to UMAC. The story moving it today, though, I guess has to do with this global agricultural drone space. I guess UMAC is in this space, and this market is projected to reach $8 billion by 2029. So a press release about the overall drone space seems to be pushing UMAC to the upside today. Back to you.
The coffee's hitting, Joseph. The coffee's hitting, Joseph.
That stuff there. All right, guys. Yeah, I got out. I was like, okay, yeah, we're going to possibly go through some of these candles. We reached that halfway point of this indecision print, and that's when I knew I was in trouble. So once we cracked it, we got out. So we'll go 1 for 2 on that one. 50% still keeping it positive. That's the name of the game. NVDA is continuing to climb higher. I'm going to wait for it to run into some resistance. But Natalia in the chat asked me to take a look at the chain on PLTR and why it's getting stuck at some key levels. I will most definitely do that because I like your manners and I like kind individuals. So,
there it is.
What did you say on PLTR? What was that key level you were looking at, Natalia? Okay, I can't. So, Natalia, why is it struggling at 105? Perfect. Here, you want to see why? Right there. There it is. Look at it relative to everything else. You can see we have 32,000 open contracts at that level. So that's why we can be running into some overhead resistance. That is a supply zone. And it doesn't look like there is enough liquidity for us to get through there and hold above it. So there you go, Natalia. Good look on that front. But I want to go over what we went. I didn't look at the chain here on the overall market. One thing to keep to note is just that NVDA strength, and there is still a lot of overhead resistance, but that's okay. Why did we trade TSLA and go long? Because essentially what I was looking for, I wasn't wrong on this one here. Now was. So there we go. And look at this one. So that's just how it is. You know what I mean, Sharif? There?
Yes, sir.
So I was looking at the chain, and I'm like, okay, where's the path of least resistance, and where can we run into some resistance? And that's exactly at 260. So that's why I decided to add into this position and then ride it all the way up to 258. That's relative to 258 here on Tesla. And then that's where we can see about 24,000 current open contracts on this one. So there you go. Nice trade following the options chain, waiting for those those overhead, those levels to come in, and using those strike prices to get us to those specific levels. So that's exactly what we want to see, and that's what we want to do. We're going to go over NVDA. Here's options chain really right after we get back from Adara, because I think it's really important.
Get it, Adara.
I do have another small cap, I think, potentially here for you, Sharif, if it's not already on your radar. It is OMEC. It's Odyssey Marine Exploration. Now, as you can see, this started running around 11 a.m. That is because Reuters reported around that time that, as we know, Donald Trump is set to sign executive orders tonight. Apparently, according to Reuters, these executive orders will have to do with advancing the deep sea mining industry. OMEX is a stock in this space. I was trying to find stocks in this space, could not find any, but OMEX, clearly one of them. Keep an eye on Odyssey Marine Exploration, again, on watch as Trump is reported to sign executive orders related to advancing the deep sea mining industry tonight. Back to you.
I got to cover this, bro.
Ahead,
you know where we went, right?
Where'd we go? No, you didn't. Not already. I'm not coming.
We went to two, bro. We went to two. Bro, I'm on one today. I'm not talking about good trading. I'm talking about I'm psychotic. I feel psychotic with this coffee. I don't know. Someone spiked it there, Joseph. All right, let's go, baby. We got in 31.50 on your friend there. CEP up 103%. Boom, 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 boom. All the way up into 33.5. Very proud of this trade. I like how this one is trading. 35, though, is the breakout level. You heard Neil, you heard Sean talk about different trades using breakout methodology versus catching them off key areas of support. $35 here, I'll submit to you, is the real breakout level. Trade it as a breakout above 35, or choose to trade it like I did as a range there between, I want to say 31.5, I got the lower end, or 31, excuse me, 31 to 35. For whatever reason, this has a $4 range and has had that $4 range for the better part of the last 20 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 25 minutes now. All the while, and hard to see, you have to kind of zoom in a little bit. These are higher lows, but not necessarily higher highs. So we could possibly get, a very hard to discern ascending wedge or a flat top break, whatever you want to call it. The point is, there's certainly selling at 34, with the breakout trade being at that $35 area. We'll have to wait and see how this one ends up working out. But I want to say, Adara, you and Bovin seem to be on the same tip there, because the second you brought OMEX to my attention, your friend Bovin in the chat was also bringing it to my attention. So I'm going to take another opportunity to shout out Bovin, because he's always keeping an eye out. And this is a good entry right now. I'll submit to you guys on OMEX. It just pulled into the volume weighted average price, so it's going to have a lot of eyes on it. A lot of these algos won't trade it if it's below VWAP. Having said that about algos, let me take this opportunity to tell you that this is a sub $1 stock. And by extension of that, there may be algos that won't participate in the trading of a sub $1 stock. So I'm not trying to say that there won't be liquidity. There's usually ample amount of liquidity given the price of these bad boys, but you may not have that aggressive buy side algo come in, kind of backstop you and to support your move up. So OMEX certainly on watch for me here. What the hell is this AMBP doing, bro? I mean, I got so excited with the CEP trade, I forgot to manage the other one. So we're out of the money on this one. We're 5 pennies out of the money. We're still waiting for that entry, though. I've been waiting for that entry for a hot minute at $3.43. This entry here is to front run the volume weighted average price on AMBP, which on my chart is around $3.38 right now. So that's going to be my line in the sand. All right, the stop's already in place. If that 43 order triggers and it loses 38, I'll give it a couple of pennies, maybe to 36, something like that. That's it for AMBP. It's a slow mover. The volume's kind of dropping down a little bit. It's up 25%. It's not a bad look, but definitely of concern. So let me give you the information right now. First and foremost, about the one that you see on your screen there, AMBP. This is a 143 million share float, so larger, with about a 3.12% short float. Now, let's talk about CEP, the other one that I was involved in. CEP has a 10 million share float, and I do not know what the short float is here, not being given it by Trade Ideas. So I don't want to say a small float, but 10 million shares usually is considered smaller, especially as I just showed you there, AMBP has got 143 million shares. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. keeping CEP on watch over here. Here it is again, zigging and zagging with 34. This could be the breakout trade. This could be the breakout trade here, guys. Here we go, 35. It's taking out levels, and now we're gonna have to chase it. So we're gonna go. We're doing it live over here. So it's gonna have to hold. Where my 18s? So let's go ahead and put something at 40. Oh, that's 44s. That's an unlucky number, Joseph. I want to cancel that. Oh, it's losing big. Take over.
Okay, yeah, no problem, guys. All right, let's see what we got going on. Amazon, 16,000 open contracts at 185. Sorry, guys. So you can see, boom, stalling out at around that 185. That can be a positive sign. This is going to be my last attempt on the SQs because if we get into squeeze territory, then I'm not going to be counter trending whatsoever. But I mentioned multiple names. So 2NY. 105 possibly short there on PLTR, lots of open contracts there. And then when we run into 106 and then 185 on NVDA and Amazon, lots of overhead resistance. So looking for that to come into play. If we crack the lows, then we're just going to get out of this, but we're going to give this one more attempt and we're slowly starting to work. But there is some key resistance zones that we need to punch through that are, support zones that we need to get through. And some of these big names need to break. So again, really extended from the volume weighted average price, looking for that mean reversion here. But if it's going to be a strong trend day, you don't want to fight it. And I don't want to give away my day on Tesla. So we'll be really, really patient. One more attempt here because I do like the setup. And that's what shooters got to do. We got to shoot.
Hey.
So yeah, exactly. So there we go. There's that on Amazon. And NVDA, I told you guys where I'm in on this name. I'm swinging this name. I wish I DCA'd a little bit more down here in like the 98s and whatsoever. But I'm like, I don't want to hop on margin or anything along those lines. So here we go. Let's climb. I'm happy if this name continues to move, and I'm happy if IBIT continues to climb. But here we go. The Qs are starting to pull back. So that's it. That's all we're doing, guys. We're using the options chain to our benefit, and it's really, really starting to work out. You can use these ranges and gauge them. Look for overhead resistance. Look for support, and use those as your benefit. So there we go. We're getting that move back towards the volume weighted average price. Right now, we are still slightly extended, Shreve, but things are starting to work out. Just going off of open interest on the chain because that's what we do.
All right, man. We did okay on this next little trade. Oh, here we go again. Goodness gracious. This is going, I'm talking about CEP, guys. Here it is. Now it's making newer, not high a day, obviously, but newer local area highs. Very, very strong. Try to get these on the micro pullbacks. Don't be a schmuck like me and try to punch in at highs. Sometimes it doesn't give you that opportunity. Here comes 36, though. Oh, baby. So let's see if we can weasel in here a little bit lower. It's not having me at this level. It's not letting me in. Yeah, which is totally fine. I mean, we already did a little bit on it. Let's see if we can get in a little bit over here. I'm talking about CEP, guys, getting it on a micro pullback over here. I'd like something in and around this level. Now we're long again at 48. So let's go ahead and wait. As your friend, boom, to the high side yet again, bro. Give me that money, man. All right, here we go. Now we're waiting at 36.15. Let's go. Let's see if we can take out 36. Lots and lots of shares churning right now. Seller at 88, big seller at 88s. 90s just showed up there, so we did take them out. 91s now on the ask. We're long. Okay. Oh, we already got taken out. I didn't even see that spike up there. So we did get it above 36. So please, as dang punch about that. We'll continue to do it live here for you guys. CEP continuing to zig, continuing to zag, but mostly to the high side over here. $36 as a level right now. We've been talking about these whole dollars as areas of both support and resistance. So keep your eye out on this one. It's continuing to go. It's 115% now in the green and looking like it's not going to stop. Now keep your eye out on 39.29. That is the high of the day. I'll submit to you that it's likely going to be that $40 area. That's going to be the big boy area. So keep your eye out on that. Very happy with this trade, looking at doing more because it's not done. It's not done. It's putting in higher lows, higher highs. For a very volatile stock, it's awfully respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. I'm quite surprised by this. So very happy with this trade. Let's see what everybody else is saying over here. My man Ozan out is always 69, baby. My man Ozan knows what's up. Scott H, AMBP has to get through big resistance at 360. Shout out to you, Scott. High day 359, so that does make sense. Let's see what else we got over here. Anybody?
I got 2NY super chat.
Yeah. Oh, 2NY. My bad. 2 New York cents. Thanks for the help. I don't know who you're talking to there. Probably Joseph, because I usually just yell, not help. Juan Padilla. You remind me of that boom kid. Can I get 3 booms? Boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
absolutely. Bot Yacht Club. Got some wins with you on that one. Let's freaking go. Shout out to my man Bot Yacht Club in the chat. Hope you print up multiple storms. My man Jay Lee. I just reshorted CEP at 36. You're already $3 in the money. We're going to hit the club. Boom. For your friend Jay Lee, the OG in the chat. Shout out to my man. He goes short. I go long. Somehow we both make money. I've seen that on this side of the desk multiple times. Neil going long, Sean going short, or the opposite, and they always end up somehow extracting profits from that. Just shows you that technical analysis doesn't work, of course, Joseph. I'm being facetious.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there you go. Prime example here, guys. Let's see if we can continue to climb up here in the SQQs. You can see if we can pull up my chart here momentarily. That'd be there we go. So yeah, so we got back in. I was a little late on the entry. My RBR would be significantly better if I did get in around 33.46, but we're starting to come back in towards this now. Squeeze type price action, that's the thing. These counter trend moves are going to be more difficult, right? Because you can see how strong this market is. So when you get that move down, look to start taking some profit and just leave a little bit of a runner just in case you do come, it does head more in your direction and it doesn't come quite to your break even. So that's the game plan here. We still got about, what do I got? Half of my position on right now. If we can construct a new high on the SQs, and that would be putting in a new low here in the market, then we'll look to take a little bit more off. A breaking trend before going into SQQ long. No confirmation yet. See, okay, so Alexandre, I'm not too sure how long you've been trading or anything along those lines, and I hear what you're saying, but it's completely subjective, and here we go. So what I'm looking at and what theses have been built, and I'm not too sure if you're familiar with volume price analysis. If you are, then you would understand what this is right here. Right? I shouldn't have to elaborate anymore here. Let me pull out my trusty tool, Sharif, and here we go.
What would happen?
We're starting to climb, baby.
Hey.
Come on, whoever just, come on. This is it. This is it here, guys. So yeah, Andre Emerad. So this is what we're referring to here. And I'm also using other forms of indicators too. That's why I always refer to the options chain. But let me pull out my trusty tool and give you a little brief description of exactly what we're looking at here. Sorry if that's too thick. I hate how that works. Okay, so that, right? And then this volume signature as well too, right? So those are potential stopping volume and reversal signals. And then I'm also using more conviction within the option chain to say, hey, we're ready to turn around. And you can see that being displayed right now. So this isolated volume signature with that isolated inverted candle right there. And then you also have another isolated signature and then some more along those lines too. So that's essentially what I'm playing off. And you can see that is really starting to work right now. So I understand I'm not going to disagree with you on the fact that, hey, use the trend lines, play the break of the trend lines, but sometimes when you do that, you can be slightly too late. So just be prepared for that, but you can see here, guys, we entered there and now we took a little bit more off right there, another 33% of the position as we head towards the downside. But Joseph.
What happened?
My 35th birthday today. Been watching for years. Thanks for making the days exciting. When trading is such a lonely game. Brandon Townsend, our guy, thank you very much. Much appreciated for your inputs, my friend. And I'm glad that you've been here for multiple years and continue to watch us. All we're trying to do is put, as Katina Man, as Sharif, as Neil, as Adair, as everybody here on the desk would be saying, all we want to do is put on some good trades, display them to you, and then explain exactly what we were thinking. So there you go. You're getting happy birthday from around the clock. The whole floor is telling Brandon Townsend happy birthday from Trader TV Live. We're going to continue to move to the south side because I think there might be a potential short here, Sharif, in the market as we continue to climb down, but I'm long the SQs. What a good look. Happy birthday, Brandon.
Yeah, man, absolutely happy birthday, Brandon Townsend, a longtime viewer and a great participator in the chat. Always respectful, always kind, and always informative. Shout out to Brandon and happy birthday, my guy. All right, here's the deal. Let's have a look at the MAG. We haven't said a word about the MAG 7. So let's see who's strong and not percentage-wise. That's easy for you guys to glean. I don't have to read that to you. But who's strong? Who's more near highs? Who's bouncing off key levels than some others? I'll submit to you guys just a cursory view. Amazon, Microsoft look really good. They're both at the 10 exponential. You're seeing Meta below. Meta is below the 20. Apple's at the 20. Tesla's at VWAP. Google's at the 20. And NVIDIA's at the 20. So I feel there might be more relative strength, at least for the moment. It doesn't have to be this way forever and ever more, in Microsoft and in Amazon. And they're both decently up on the day. Amazon being up 2% with Microsoft 2 1/3. So not a bad look there. You're getting Meta below 1 1/3. Apple's at 0.5%. Goggles 1.5%. Tesla 1.45. NVIDIA's up the most, technically 2.44. But it's. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. 106 level on NVIDIA right now, acting as a level of resistance. And if history is any guide, at least on the day, the 20 exponential pullback on NVDA has been bought up. So currently it's in a 4-candle drawdown right now on the 5. I'm talking about NVDA on the 5-minute chart. 4 red candles, still holding above 105, still above the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. So good strength in NVIDIA. But I do like Amazon. I do like Microsoft. I saw the Katina man take Amazon long today, and it seems to be one of the stronger ones. So if I was to trade one of these, I'd be looking at those. Back to the small cap gappers, my man Bovin bringing HOLO. Obviously a former runner, one that we know very well. It has a hard time, though, sometimes staying above key levels. So we're going to load up HOLO. Is this a Bovin? I was about to ask you if that was a real wick, but it just deleted itself. Anyway, HOLO has been also quite respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, and I see a bull flag, quite frankly, and a very bullish bull flag, if that can be any more bullish. And the reason I say that, thank you, dear. The reason I say that is because we're getting that flat top at 1320. But we're getting that ascending wedge. So you're not getting an upward channel. You're not getting a scattered kind of flag. You're getting a very, distinct pennant, what we call an ascending wedge, basically a flat top break. So a key level here would be, it seems, for the moment, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. Currently, that level, on my chart anyway, is about 285. Now, you do have this false breakout, which probably caught a lot of people offside. I'm talking about the candle here on the 5-minute at 1125. It weaseled all the way up to 1360. Probably a lot of people got long on that, thinking the same thing I was thinking. Flat top breakthrough 1320 or 1325. And then they're probably all offside, almost $1 out of the money now because we're printing 1290. So I would submit to you guys the money fill here, as my friend Neil likes to say, is to pick it up off the 10 exponential. Now, it's a bit spready. You just saw it. It was at 1280 something. Now it's back up to 1303. So the spread is a little wide. You may have to wait a little while to get that fill because you might not be first in priority. So HOLO looking awfully good. Ascending wedge, bull flag, 13 1/5, 13 1/4, flat top break, Joseph Wilson.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm channeling my inner Katina man. I feel right now. I just got to take a breath and somewhat relax here. No, I'm only joking, guys.
What happened?
No. Things are working out, man. Okay. That's all that matters, right?
You got your drawing tools.
Yeah, I got my tool. I was using them a couple minutes ago. You didn't see that? Yeah. Well, I was telling the folks why exactly I took that specific trade.
Okay.
Yeah. We can go over that again one more time if you guys want, and we can pull out the trusty tools. But I don't think there's any need for that. No, I was just showing this, Sharif, this isolated volume signature with that doji print right there, and then again you have that more conviction. But we squeezed past it, and then we just take another re-entry on that front. So we only have a little bit left here, guys. So there you go. I was just using two things. Honestly, what was the chain telling me, and what was price action telling me? As my good Obi would say, that's essentially what you need to follow. And I love using the chain as well too. So you can see how that really worked out for us well. Just sticking to our guns on that front. I was just looking at what's going on with Amazon. Okay, so this was my thought process. What are the strongest tech names so far if I'm going to short this trend? What are the strongest tech names? So with that, I seen that it was NVDA and Amazon. Okay, so what do I do next? I pull up the options chain. Where's the most overhead resistance on both of these underlying assets?
Where?
185 and 106.
Okay.
Okay, where do we stall out? all out at Sharif.
Yes,
We
sir.
stall out at 106 on NVDA, and we stall at 185 on Amazon. Perfect. Now I have more indecision prints on the candles themselves. What does that tell me? Joseph, take one more stab at that trade, and that's what we did. So again, just following what the chain is telling me and following what the price action is telling me. Those are two keys. I love the in-depth look of the options chain. It's crazy that I wasn't using it more, I guess, but I guess that's just a part of it. Okay, refresh, guys. If there's any issues with the mics, just we'll just get a refresh, and I think everything should be okay on that front. But again, just to going back, what my thought process was is, okay. My thought process was, okay, strongest names, what's the chain telling me, and then what's price action telling me at that, and then that's why we decided to take one more stab here on the SQs. I wish, obviously I wish, shoulda, coulda, woulda, I held on to this Tesla a little bit longer, but Hal R, I don't know, Hal, if you're listening, I'm sure you are because you're always in the back. So this goes back to what we were talking about yesterday of just like setting stops and then letting price action play out until either one comes out. And I actually got out of my last bid, it was a little bit more than 10% right here before the break of the volume weighted average price as the market was moving down. That was a mistake on my behalf because there's a potential ad scenario there, and then you can get back in. Just looking for ways to improve. Otherwise, you can't go, like, again, you always want to be bigger at some point, but I can't complain here. Got in here, added to the position, using a 10-cent stop on this front, and then that's when we piece it all the way up. So there it is. That's what I was looking at, using the options chain for the Tesla trade once again. So, guys, hopefully everyone is implementing that within their trading and using these key levels of support and resistance, and you can find that through via open interest, and that's exactly what I did. Don't just pick any level of strike price. It has to be a standout amount, and then that's going to help you say, hey, okay, yeah, there's quite a bit of open contracts relative to all the other strikes, and this is where we might possibly see a reversal or a bounce off a specific level, and that's exactly what I did, Shree.
Absolutely, Joseph. Shout out to you. That's a good look there. All right, the majority of the position. It's having trouble with the $0.50, full disclosure. All right, I've set up a dip trade here on, we'll see if this is my friend or not. Well, I don't want to call it my friend quite yet. I have mixed feelings about Holo. It's been good to me at times. It's pooped on me on others. So we'll have to pack our patience. Showing me 90 now on the bid. I'm waiting at 95s. Look at this, 90 on the bid. 12.90, that is, 13.10 on the ask, 20 pennies on a 13.12 and change dollar name, quite wide. And in fact, I'm 5 pennies above the bid, and I'm still not getting printed, which just gives you an idea. You know, that's why some of these small cap gapper-esque type stocks that are spready might be a bit difficult to trade. The reason I'm involving myself in this one is I've observed respect for the 10 exponential. So I'm trying to base my trade. I feel that the money fill here will be off or around the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 for a possible eventual flat top break. And here's what, if you're a newer trader, no worries. Let me, and if you're a more experienced trader, just tune out for a second. You probably have heard this before. Look at this area low. So we moved all the way up, and when we dropped low, and then we popped back up, encountered the same resistance area, 1320, 1325. Drop down again. Oh, it's going without me. Come on now, man. Drop down again. Now, this drop down over here has to be juxtaposed to this drop down. Why? Because this is one area low, and that's another area low. We don't have another area high. We have the same area high. So when you have higher lows with that same area high, that's what we call an ascending wedge. And I've perceived it to be a very reliable pattern. Nothing is foolproof ever in trading, period. But we try to put the odds on our side or the statistics on our side, and that's what I'm doing right here. So $13 seems to be now maybe the money fill because the 10 exponential is a dynamic level, meaning it moves with the price action. And my order was based on the previous level of the 10 exponential, which is no longer valid. Now it's about a little bit higher. So anyway, I'm not getting filled right now on it. I'm trying to get filled on HOLO. I perceive this to be a possible flat top break candidate, and I'm trying to get the money fills around the 10 exponential. We'll pack our patience there. Let's have a look back at CEP, because aside from the wicks, and that's all they are, wicks below the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, I'm talking now about CEP, we're getting a lot of respect here for the 10 exponential. That green line on my black charts will always be the 10 exponential. So you do have wicks. I'm not going to tell you, it's held it to a strict sense. It hasn't. And you're going to have to account for that in your stop placement. So, you know, if you're placing your stop like a couple of pennies below the 10 exponential, don't expect to do well on this. You're going to have trouble, right? Because it's shown you the range per candle is quite wide. It's also $34, $35, whatever. So it's expensive, more expensive than your typical small cap gapper. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking possibly at working back into CEP. It's continuing to put in that higher low. It's just very obvious it's putting in higher lows. Now, it did fool you over here. When it broke out, I was involved in this trade. I was profitable on it. I didn't hold, but it fooled a lot of people. Let's be honest, man. That $34 break works up to 36 bucks, drops back to 32. So it's a bit of a tougher look, but trade it carefully. Try to get the money fills on this one, and I think it should be okay as long as it's above VWAP, guys. You know, you kind of feel like the buyers may still be in control. So CEP. Not out of the woods yet, or not done as a trade yet. Still more left to give on that one. HOLO is just not filling me, but I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to chase it. I'm going to move up my order just a couple of shekels. You know, so maybe we can get the money filled maybe around 99s. So I had it at 95s before. Let's see if we can get 99 up in this you-know-what, and then we'll see there. Jay Lee, Holo has a 16-cent spread as far as I see on my broker. Brother, I saw it at 30 a little while ago when I was making that description. What's that, Adara? Adara said, get it, Holo. All right. Adara had a banger today on Netflix, by the way. I want to shout her out on that. I saw a 10 banger there, by the way. Just I don't know what it ended up being, but it was a good trade. What? It didn't work out, but she tried. But you could have had, when I saw it, it was almost $10 in the money. So you could have. You chose not to. So shout out to you, Adara. All right, we got Holo. We got Holo. Now we're filled at 99s. Now what's the deal? So this has been respectful of the 10. So here's what I'm doing. I'm giving to 79s, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're doing it live. We're going to do it 79s. And then where are we going to take profits, though? Right? Like if this stops me out, fine. I'm going to take first profit level, 15s, and then I'm going to get OG with it, and then we're going to go 25s. We'll see if we get something there. So right now, it's giving me 94s on the level 1, 1303 on the level 2, or sorry, 90s, excuse me, on the bid, 03s on the ask, still holding above the 10. But now, this current candle, this current 5-minute candle has a lower high. So that does concern me. It's still holding the 10 exponential, but I don't know for how long. We'll have to wait and see. We're involved. I'm gonna give it to $12.79. I'm long $12.99, so we are risking 20 pennies here on HOLO. Joseph.
Yes, sir. Okay, guys. Here we go. Right, like that. I absolutely love the chain, man. I don't know. I love a lot of things, but I absolutely love the options chain, Sharif. It's a beautiful.
Tell me something I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I like it a lot, man, and I'm pretty sure you guys know it as well too. But these levels are just coming into play. There's so money. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to really starting to hopefully take super advantage of some of these moves here. Where do we stall out on NVDA, right? Like where do we stall out, right? You know what I mean? Let's pull up. Where do we stall out, right? Like again, here you go through 190, a lot of overhead, so squeeze type price action. So yeah, just keep an eye out on that stuff if you have access to it. I'm sure a lot of you who are trading, I pay essentially Bubkiss for options data. It's like $1 a month or something like that. And if you end up making a transaction that's more than $6 or $10 per month or something like that, it's waived. So yeah, you can get it for free. So if you look at the chain or you want options data, just get into your broker and see if you can tap into that as well too. So are you looking at time and sales? Sure, of course, at all times. This is really important. It's right here.
It's right there.
Yeah, really, really important. I think if you have that tool, this is one of the most important. And then get comfortable with reading this as well. So what I tell individuals in the chat is tape reading is definitely an art. I'm not going to argue that with that. And a lot of people who taught me how to trade say it takes a long time to understand it. But they never gave me this one kind of kind of a little trick of the trade, I guess I can say, that I figured out for myself. So if you really want to understand how to read the tape, and I'm saying I don't know how to, but how I interpret the tape, so what you can do, if you have the ability to go back into Tick Replay, or your platform allows you to go back and watch the tape, go and find a stock in the morning that has a really strong opening range, right? Like if it's really strong trading to the top side, watch the tape. And then do the exact same thing for the inverse. If it's going down, if it's really weak to the downside, then go back and watch the tape and see how those transactions are being printed. And then also go and watch the tape on an underlying asset that just essentially moves sideways, right? So a lot of choppiness, and you'll see the difference within those three scenarios that I gave you. That it will most definitely help you understand what is going on with the time and sales, because a lot of it is noise. 99% of it is noise. But when you're looking for key precise entries, whether it be in the opening first 15 or 20 minutes of the day, the tape is really, really important in my opinion. I think a lot of traders can agree with me on that front. So yeah, just go back and do that, and then eventually you'll just build yourself into understanding what the options chain is telling us and where we can find specific key support and resistance levels. So you can see that we had this nice trade here on the SQs, and that was more of a chain-based trade, as well as the TSL. But during earnings seasons, when I tend to trade my best is when I'm focusing on the tape in the morning, when we had a nice report the previous day, and I'm looking for the continuation in strength. So just go back and do that, read the tape. Again, this is a lot of noise, but if you look at the tape during key levels and you look at the chain for key levels and key strikes, it's going to help you out a lot. Try to void out all that noise, even though it gets hard at times.
Well said, Joseph. All right, so we don't usually do it this early, but Jameson asked specifically to cover or to talk about Google earnings. So I did my homework, as I typically do, so we're going to cover it right now. If you can show my screen, please. Thank you. All right, here's what we're expecting, guys, after the bell. Now, today, Alphabet, Google, whatever the hell you want to call them, reports after the bell today. Widely expected for earnings per share to come in at $2.01 versus that $1.89 print we got last year in Q1. Revenue, geez Louise, bro, $89.1 billion on the quarter, guys, not the year. Expected for revenue. Last year, excluding traffic acquisition costs, we're looking for a 75.5 print. Ad revenue, obviously their number one money maker, expected to be about 66.4 billion, a little bit shy than that 66.5. That beats easily that 61.1 billion we got last year. YouTube alone, bro, is like a Netflix. $8.9 billion are looking for revenue from YouTube, with Google Cloud Platform, just Google Cloud, estimated to bring in about 12.3. I didn't even know that Google Cloud was bigger revenue-wise than YouTube. That's crazy. Yeah. All right, I didn't know that at all. Tariffs are going to be an issue, sadly. While not expected to impact Q1 results, investors are watching for forward guidance, and we've already seen companies pull their forward guidance or not give it at all. Analysts like Barclays warn digital ad growth may weaken in Q2. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about the fact that China use Google, they use Meta to advertise to American consumers, despite the fact that those social media platforms or Google are not available for, technically, obviously you can use them for a VPN in China, but the Chinese advertisers use them. So they're worried about that, because if tariffs are expensive, tariffs reduce spending, then ad spending will be reduced as well. There's also an AI search shift. We've been talking about this one nonstop. Joseph uses it differently. I think Neil does as well. Brendo, Katina Man, myself, we use a lot of these LLMs as opposed to, the traditional methodology of going into Google and typing keywords. So there is that word. So agencies reportedly reevaluating search ad strategies as users turn more to AI tools as well as social media. Like, I was talking to some people a little bit younger than me, and they're like, we use TikTok to search stuff. They don't even go into Google. They just go into TikTok and type whatever they want, and then the videos give them the results that they want. So they're not even looking for text results, they're looking for video. There's also the Doge cuts and tariffs. So Mizuho is noting that Google Cloud Platform customers linked to government contracts and tariff hit sectors may reduce their spending. So that is a bit of a concern there. Some are already down 25% versus the forecast. Also, AI infrastructure. Yeah, you can see that there. AI infrastructure. We already heard Google mention that they want to spend $75 billion in 2025 for their AI data centers. That could be, we'll see if they reiterate that. There's also capacity limits. CFO Anat Ashakanzi says that resource constraints are limiting the revenue that they're able to make from AI services until more servers come online. So it's kind of like, hello, Fabian. How are you?
What's up, Faye?
Everything good? You like what Ramin is doing over there?
Yeah.
Not bad, huh? I know you do that a lot. I single-handedly changed the way that I do my morning routine because of this man right here.
Dang.
He terrorized me. He's like, bro, I don't want to see that border. No border on the...
Yeah, no border, man.
Hey, yes, it is. Because he's not watching. He's doing his job, right?
You, Dave.
There you go. Dave, you're getting called out by the Chilean nightmare, baby.
Dave Trisak?
Let's keep going on over here. Legal and regulatory issues. We know that Google's being sued wherever they can get their hands on Google. They're trying to get their hands on Google. So a U.S. federal judge obviously ruled Google holds an illegal monopoly in the ad tech space. Restructuring may be required. We already know about that. Search monopoly ruling as well. That echoes a 2023 decision finding similar antitrust violations in the core search and ads business. So expect to hear more about that during the call. At least I would, because these are pressing issues right now. So lots to listen for today on Google or during Google's earnings. So make sure if you're invested in the company or you're looking at trading it, definitely keep your eye on that. Joseph.
Yeah, good look there. And one thing to do, I think just Google is a little late to changing the search engine. Like Google search has been the same for how long now?
Big time.
Big time, man.
Big time.
Why can't they just...
Like they got Gemini.
They got Gemini, but is it... When I type in Google, though, like, I have to go to Google, let me pull up Google Chrome, which I personally don't even use. I don't even have a thing here. I don't like Google Chrome.
You don't like it?
Yeah, I like this thing right here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Someone just asked me about those shoes again, Joseph. So we're gonna continue the social experiment over here.
Let them know about the shoes, Shreek. Let them know about the Air Max 95.
Jeremy. His name is Jeremy.
Right,
Hi. Are these available? Paste.
Dang. Just like, nah, yeah, you know what you got to do there.
Or just copy and paste.
Yeah,
Joseph.
just copy and paste.
It is,
Yeah,
baby.
just send the own thing. There we go. Let's see what's going on. My guy.
What?
My guy Charlie Taff.
Said you like? Okay.
I don't know about that right now, but Mr. Charlie, no, I'm only playing. Yeah, I see what you're looking at here, around 6,000 open connies, around that 1,100 strike price. And you can see that we're running into some overhead resistance at those levels. So there you go. Good. He's using it as well.
Neil, you better not message me. Are these available, bro? I'll lose it.
No, don't even.
Neil, he wants to do it. I can feel it.
Imagine, so don't. People are gonna find you on Market.
I'm sending it to Neil, not anybody else.
People are gonna find you on Marketplace and then start sending you peer messages.
Oh, that's a good point, Joseph. I don't want that, bro.
So yeah, we don't want that. But here we go. Look at. See, we're moving higher, and this is one of these days where. It's like you got to watch out, even though we have all these kind of these indicators displaying, hey, this might be the potential top. But if the market really wants to squeeze, don't fight it whatsoever. You can see that I'm all out of that SQQ trade, and there's a specific reason, right? So someone who I used to trade with way back in the day would tell me, Joseph, if your trade goes from so if you enter a position and then you go to about 1.5 R, so 1.5 return, and you don't take any profit and it comes back to your break even, get out of the position, right? Get out of the position. These guys are going on the Air Max. So Sharif's making a deal now. This guy's making a deal on the side about the Air Max 95s, which is crazy. There we go. So there you go. He's getting messaged out the wazoo about them. But one thing to note, guys. So if you enter a trade, let me pull out my trusty tool here and just kind of give a brief explanation of how I was taught. So essentially what it is, you enter, okay, so we'll use this as an example. You enter here, right? You're using this as your stop. You hit that 2-to-1 and you start to take some out. But if you're looking for a 3-to-1 and you don't take any out and then it comes back, get out of the trade, right? Break even, because you don't want a trade that went 3-to-1 and then let it come back to a loss, right? And you get stopped out. So if you're using a 2-to-1, 3-to-1, whatever your risk to reward may be, and you're about halfway in the money to your target and then it comes back against you, don't take that full stop. In my opinion, again, totally subjective, get out break even, and what does getting out at break even tell us? That we're flat and we can always have another opportunity to get back into the trade. So hopefully that works out for you guys, because that's something that I stuck by, and it also just keeps risk measures absolutely in place. And I think that's the name of the game until you really start to get the ball rolling. So that's just a little trick that I personally do. Again, this is trading is so subjective, and if you can manage to build a system that works for you, then stick to it. All I can do is just give you some little knowledge nugget that I personally use. And if they mean anything or if they work for you, then so be it. And if not, if you have your own style, then continue to do what you're doing, and hopefully it works.
Why is Holo not stopping me out, Joseph? Oh, we didn't. We added. That's why. Okay. Well, we'll take a hit on Holo. Oh, well, that'll be the first L today on HOLO. It lost the 10 exponential. It's at VWAP, but that wasn't why I wanted to trade this. Holo, to me, was an ascending wedge and a flat top break through 13.25. That didn't manifest, so I'll take the L on this one. Simple as that. Now, I don't want to trade this off VWAP because it's a spready trade. This was supposed to be a breakout trade, not... Thank you. It was not supposed to be a pullback trade into a key level. At least that was my thinking on a Holo. Now, it may find support at VWAP, right? Currently, VWAP, at least on my side chart, is 1255, 1254, something in that region. So we'll see. If it can get above that level, we'll keep an eye out there. CEP is losing the bid. Okay, CEP just broke down below that $30 area momentarily. Now, it's done this before. You see these candles over here, these wicks, they all dropped down into 28, 29, but they did get bought up. What's important about CEP here is it's still above VWAP. Now, again, I don't want to catch a falling knife here. It's too expensive, it's too volatile, and it's just too spready for me to feel comfortable picking it up as a dip trade. Because the cost of doing business on that dip trade, if I wait at 29, for example, and I give it to, say, 28.50, I'm just giving you any numbers, okay? Then realistically, given the spread, my cost of doing business could be up to 30 cents a share. So if I trigger, say at 28.48, it could go all the way down to maybe 28.28, 28.18, depending on really how spready it is. So I don't want to catch a falling knife on CEP. That ain't going to be my move. I'm looking for a breakout trade. Now, the other one that I'm involved in, finally, we got the add into this on AMBP. So this is going to have to hold up VWAP. Hold above VWAP, excuse me. VWAP currently on my chart, $3.40. We've got 48s. It's showing me 44, so we're 4 pennies out of the money on this one. AMBP, wet the beak here quickly above 50, but this one, again, like a lot of these small cap gappers, they are giving up the ghost a little bit. They're not at the highs. They're pulling back. Normal for this time of day, noon hour, everybody's going on lunch. They want to stuff their stomach with some food instead of punching into positions. Totally understandable, but the point is to try to look for the ones that are running during this time and not to try to take these ones that are pulling back. So I won't be getting into any new ones off a key area of support. I'll be looking for breakout trades. Now, having mentioned that, let me also show you what's coming into key areas of support. So CEP right at VWAP, and it could find support here. I won't be buying it here. I am concerned about the spread and the volatility of this one, so I'll take a breakout trade only. But there it is at the volume weighted average price, holding it to a T for the moment. Underline that. VWAP currently 28.50 on my chart. 28.50, the volume weighted average price on CEP. HOLO as well did hammer candle into VWAP at around 1260, back up to 1275, but that pattern of lower lows and lower highs is really what's glaring about Holo at the moment, rather than it holding up above VWAP. So I am not likely to want to punch into that either. But OMEX, shout out to Adara, shout out to Bovin for calling this one out. This one did lose VWAP, okay? So it popped up into 86 pennies. It probably had people thinking, all right, here comes that dollar. Then all hell broke loose to the downside. From 86, we went down to 65. Lo and behold, though, the bid's coming back because we're now zigging and zagging between 77 pennies and 80 pennies. Keep your eye out for that break at around 86, 87 pennies, because then you have about a 13 to 14 penny kind of buffer between that and the dollar area. And I'll submit to you that dollar area going to likely be basically a technical area of resistance. Whether or not you get through that dollar quick as you like or you zig and zag, that really depends on the individual name, but that dollar will be likely resistance if OMEX is to get to it. we are going to send you to Adara for happening now, and then we're going to Neil's lesson of the day.
We're going to go to Neil's lesson of the day, but first, let's take a look at the lessons this market has been teaching us. S&P 500 to the upside, but as you can see, we're running into some resistance here on that 544 level. Actually pretty range-bound when you look at it from a 15-minute chart. The NASDAQ actually looking pretty similar here. Both of them just putting a bit of a topping tail candle on the 15. Donald Trump has been posting so many times today on his Truth Social so far, more than he usually does on an intraday basis. But this one, certainly the biggest market-related post he's made today. He commented that Boeing should be defaulting China for not taking, quote, the beautifully finished planes that China committed to purchase. So interesting note there from President Trump, who is set to be greeting the Prime Minister of Norway, Mr. Støre, pretty soon. Then they'll have their bilateral meeting at 1:05. So 12:05 p.m. Eastern is the greeting. Then at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, we are set to have their bilateral meeting. OMEX, as Strafe mentioned earlier, this one is pretty strong here. Reuters reporting that Donald Trump's executive order set to be signed today might have something to do with deep sea mining and advancing in that space. TMC was another one that I saw was moving a little bit off of this as well, though OMEX probably a bit stronger. Google reporting earnings tonight, Intel reporting earnings tonight, T-Mobile reporting earnings tonight. Check out all of these earnings and more on the market recap with myself and Sean, I believe, Sharif, for another earnings party, so make sure to check that out. Also on X at TTV Research, we have a handful of Intel-related infographics. You can check those out as well. And I may be spotlighting those later in the day. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you get your notepads out for Neil and his lesson of the day. Take it away.
The lesson of the day brought to you by these awesome glasses. But you know what? Shout out to Shadow Rap. We're going to look at Tesla for you, okay? Because Tesla's involved in the lesson of the day, but we're going to look at it right now. Why? Because part of my plan was to be long Tesla, and it's about going over and sort of reviewing your plan of action and how you can grade it. While Tesla is holding, let's just get through the technicals on this, because it's holding downtrend. I said I was going to long it off of VWAP. There was one bounce. And you're like, oh, yay, I got a bounce and I got the top wick. Well, the good news is, yes, I got the top wick to get some out. The bad news is it held that trend on that top wick and is now breaking down. Now, if you were to look at it, a lot of times you want to look at something like this, like, okay, there's the dip into the high, there's the trend. You still have a bottom of the trend that could hold on, as it's a descending wedge in here. So if I'm going to be long Tesla again, I think it needs to break out this wedge. I don't want to hit save just yet because I don't want it to crash on me while I'm doing this. But the reality is, sometimes in a strong market, it's going to tell you really distinctly relative strength and weakness. And Tesla's up 1%. For now, it's still within the pocket, but relatively weak. So I wouldn't give up on the long. It needs to change something. My plan of action when I go back over and I look at my note, because AMD, I was looking back and I could kind of live with AMD. A bit. I think I can live with AMD. We'll get to that in a second. Earnings day 2, resistance 260. Okay, don't think it was close enough to 260 for a short. 243 to 45 gap area has held. If we flush, the yada, yada, yada. So neither one of those things happen. Like, we do press. The 50 kind of goes for a little over under at the 50. You could have maybe taken that, but no press into the bottom. I don't think it gave me the short. So when something's trending and I'm favoring long, okay, do I try it off of VWAP when it breaks trend? So there's your break of the downtrend, buy the dip in front of VWAP, get some out there. I think I follow the plan of action on Tesla. And if we break this low, I think we can get to 243 to 245. That's not too bad. We waited patiently to take our shot. I didn't overtrade it. But here's where I do have a bit of an issue. Because AMD, you would have seen on that note, was a top one, strong breakout yesterday. It reversed to the 90. Need to play over under at the 90 level. Well, there was an entry. Even though I said if I wasn't wrong till down here, it didn't quite come close enough to get long, being sitting in front of 90. I would agree with that. For my style of trading, that's true. But what's not true is that there wasn't an entry point. Why? Because if you follow this show enough or follow a lot of traders, do you think open prices are more important than closes? And I've said it time and time again, the closing price is more important than the open price. And if you look at where this closed, it was at $90.39, right? So $90.39 was the close price. When it dipped and didn't get to the area that I wanted the long, but I'm favoring longs over that price, it dips right into $90 and about 36 or 37 cents. It immediately holds There's your retake of VWAP. There is your local prior bar break right in here at 90.85. That's a local breakout holding VWAP where you can either stop out at VWAP or you can stop at the previous close. That is fantastic risk reward. It's a fail for not having. I don't mind taking a trend reverse. I'll do that. Look, I'll risk 15 cents to try to make $1 every single time. I have no issue with that. But that was an entry that's part of the toolbox that I think I needed to have on AMD. So I ranked that as a fail. And then I go to, I also had Alibaba, which never got to 120, and Enphase. By the way, AMD double top. That could get spicy if it breaks out the high. Then I go back into Enphase, which was, let's short it in front of 46.5. Outside of a single stop out at the high after taking profit, and a trail out at the VWAP, and then continuing to short it for profit, that's following plan. We liked the level, we traded the level, it worked, but that AMD, man, you've got to find a way. That's the big one for me. It's not about whether you, for me, it's never about whether you necessarily win, lose, or draw. It can simply be how did you follow your plan execution-wise, and I gotta be long in there. And I got to find a different type of long, and you should always try to find something that A, fits your plan. That prior close being 939, it was almost perfect, everybody, right to that prior close. There's nothing wrong with having a key level, but if your number one trade ID is bullish above a key level, you should probably have some kind of a long if it trends up like this. So when you're reviewing it, it's like, did I make a single trade on AMD that I regret? Answer, no. Okay, that's fine. Was I patient in trying to find something? Answer, yes. So I could be the end of my analysis and say, hey, I didn't do anything wrong on AMD today, so I have no issues. That's not true. That's BS, because it should have been my number one stock today, and I have to look at the reasons why it's not. That's what you do as a trader to try and be consistent, is maximize what you think your best idea is, because you can't have something be this strong to the upside when it was your top idea and not be honest with yourself about where you could have reasonably got in. And there was still a good, tight risk option for me available to the prior close. It was less than 50 cents worth of risk. That's the type of trade that I look for. And it actually gave you one of those on AMD. Sometimes you don't get that kind of a limited risk position or entry. It gave it to me. I didn't take it, but I can look back and honestly say, I know where it went wrong. And I'm willing to admit that even though it's close to a flat day on it, because I made one small trade, it's still a bad day. Like, I'd rank it an F, despite the fact that I didn't really lose any money on the stock. And you got to be able to say that. There's your lesson of the day.
Fire, as always, Neil Roberts. Around that noon hour, he will be dropping his lesson of the day. We're going to thank him very much for that. Thank you, Neil, and all the wisdom. Steven James, you all right, bro? Something going on over there? You need help, Steven. We can send help. You just give me the number and the address and we'll send help. You look like you're having some issues over there, brother. I'm just worried about you, Steven. And looking at your YouTube profile, you look like you're a Zen guy. You're going to all these nice, excursions in the wild. You're in the wilderness. Why are you so angry, brother?
Yeah, why are you so... Yeah. Nature.
Down, my guy.
Touching grass, man.
Take it easy.
Touching grass.
Poor soul. Anyway, OMEX broke above $1, $1.04 a high of the day, but true to form, guys, we knew that it would be a different trade at that dollar, a little bit above the dollar, a little bit below. This thing's zigging. This thing's zagging right now. If you're going to trade this for a breakout trade, you need to ensure that it's really cleared that dollar, not just wicked above the dollar. So OMEX having a whole lot of trouble taking out $1, but it is $1.04, at least that's what I'm seeing on my side platform here, $1.04 the high of the day. Zigging and zagging, as I mentioned, Joseph at 97 cents. So let's talk about where you can pick this up. So if you don't want to take it as a breakout trade above that $1, I perceive there to possibly be support at 85 pennies, owing to this area top over here. So usually when an area is a resistance level like this and it gets cleared by some distance, and I'll submit to you it did, then it comes back in, it tests it, usually it finds some support. So keep your eye out here on OMEX. I missed the breakout trade. I was in the bathroom, taking my time off while Neil drops hot lines, but this one still tradable. It's up 125%. I'd like it a lot more, guys, if it cleared that dollar. And I've mentioned why multiple times. When you're trading it south of $1, you've got 4 decimal places, more room, more levels to post sell orders or offers, keeping that top a little bit heavier. And also a lot of these algos that won't trade it below the dollar. They just don't get turned on until that dollar gets cleared. So keep your eye out on that. I'd like it a lot better, Joseph, if it was above that dollar, my man.
Yeah, E in the chat. Same, brother. Same goes with me. I would love to do that one day. That would be fantastic.
We can't say?
Yeah, I think you can maybe say that. I don't know, but I'm not going to repeat it anyways. But I would totally do the same if I had the opportunity. So I like that. That made me chuckle a little bit. So yeah, funny stuff.
1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You're killing me, Kanye.
Is that Kanye?
He's sending you to the White House.
There you go. There you go. So what happened? What's going on? CRWV 5% down? Yeah, I mean, things garbage, man. That's what happened, TP. There's nothing else really going on. But I mean, the market is still relatively strong. Can we see if we can continue? I mean, it's so hard to counter trend right now considering the strength. But some of the big names are starting to pull back a little bit here. But Amazon, Apple and NVDA holding up really tight, and Google reporting this evening as well too, brought to you by Sharif Adair and Mr. Sean himself. So that would be a good one here, guys. And Palantir, I posted on X if you guys want to go check that out as well. Just why Palantir. Natalia in the chat was actually the one who said, Joe, look at Palantir and what's going on. And you can see multiple areas of resistance there. So what do? We just pull up the options chain, Sharif, and take a look at that specific strike price. And sure enough, that's where the highest level of open interest is, and there you go, we're bouncing off of that, and that's what I referred to earlier, right? I think it's going to be really hard for some of these bigger names to climb through some of these key levels, and that's on this week's expiration cycle. I mean, once those contracts expire, who knows what next week can bring? All we can do is just wait to see what's going on. I can pull it up right now to see if they're still intact, and I don't think they're relatively the same. I mean, 110 on NVDA still has quite a bit of open contracts, but you don't see the depth of the book through 105 to 110 like you do on this week's cycle. So there you go. That could be a positive sign that we might have some room to climb come next week after all these contracts expire, Sharif.
All right, guys. I put a dip trade here on OMEX at 88. I'm front running what I perceive to be support at 85 in case it gets to be a crowded trade. I'm talking about OMEX looking for that 88 print. Now, if I'm wrong, what's the move here? I will have to give it to 80 pennies because that's where VWAP is, okay? So I will have to risk a little bit more here, more than I'd like. 8 pennies on an 88 penny name. You guys get it. It's a little bit wider. So we're waiting right at 88, looking for that one to possibly come in, dropping into 92 now. Let's see what this one does. Now, I've got a new small cap gapper for you guys, one that just weaseled onto the scene now. And you know my affinity for these intraday new ones, the ones that pop up, not in the pre-market, not at the open, but intraday. And I'll submit to you this one is one of those. Now, it's about an hour old, to be fair. I just got eyes on it now. It started going at 11 o'clock, 10:55 to be exact. So it's an hour deep. That's still relatively new. Some of these bad boys were running in the pre-market or at the open. Anyway, 375 high day. You got a lower high over here, but you also have a higher low. So what's the move? What is this respecting? It doesn't look like it's respecting VWAP. It doesn't look like the volume weighted average price is acting as any level of support. If I'm forced to find a level of support, it does look like it's holding up above the 10 EMA. So you could work your way in here, say 345, 340. Currently the 10 EMA is at 340. And you could give it to VWAP, maybe below 330. So you risk about 15 pennies here to make possibly $1 if this really gets going. So TMC, a new small cap gapper just working its way onto the scene now. I will be interested in this one. I think I might work into this one, but I am concerned about it being kind of like a skewed double top, right? Where you have this area here, there's one side of the M, there's the other side, and there's a neckline right around 315, 310. It drops below that 310, there's your double top, and it probably retraces back down into 270, maybe even LOD, low of day, at 258. So TMC in focus. Make sure you're using stops. I wet the beak there on AMBP because I got the ad. I wet the beak at 49s, and now I'm waiting at 51s. It's showing me 50. This is by no means like a banger trade or anything like that, but it's holding up above the predicted areas of support. And I have some shares on here, so I'm going to take out more here at 50 and see if we can de-risk a little bit more. So that's AMBP. Simultaneously, I've still got, oh, come on, bro. You're seriously going to come into 88. You're not going to fill me. That's frustrating. That's frustrating. I hate that. It came into 88 and 2/3, Joseph, and then it didn't get the fill. So let's see, maybe, well, we were waiting at 88s. I hate these sub $1 names because of all the decimal places you have to account for. If it doesn't go all the way down below 88, you don't get the fill. And the reason I'm waiting at 88, guys, to front run what I perceive to be support at 85, and it's already getting away here. All right, well, we're just going to work in, and then we'll DCA into this. So we're going to work in over here. What do we got? We got 94, so let's go ahead.
You punched, eh?
Oh, yeah, I punched. Yeah. And then we're going to wait at 97s. Okay, so we'll throw up some orders there. And then you got to have a little bit over here for the break above a buck. So I'm going to leave my orders there to only take profits up until that point. I'm going to leave the other beak wetter for above a buck, all the while hoping it does go against me, at least momentarily, and picks up my order at 88. We shall see what happens there. Back to now, AMBP. We got the print at 50, still waiting for that print at 51s. How we doing here on HOLO? Are we losing VWAP? Looks like we're dropping here. We're below VWAP on a technical basis by a couple of shekels, not by that much. Still a prohibitive spread on that one. Where happened to my level 2 on this? Oh, there it is. Okay, good.
All right, well,
Cool. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Joseph.
brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
Natalia.
Oh.
It's your time to shine. There you go. $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you for your help. I love this show and watch every day while I'm working from home. Your time to shine. Thank you very much, Natalia.
Natalia.
And yeah, Natalia, I made an X post exactly on what you were referring to earlier, and you're like, hey, let's take a look at the chain to see what's going on with that front. And then there we go. We put 2 and 2 together. Why are we running into resistance? We take a look at the chain, and it tells us a lot there. One thing here I want to note, guys, my guy Pizza Rat and a bunch of other traders in the chat are also talking about IBIT. Go, IBIT, go is all I have to say, essentially. Even though I'm not even in it, I just cheering you guys on. But we got this gap fill. So my game plan today was actually to fill this gap here, guys, and I didn't. So that's my fault. I was trading Tesla and SQs, but that's a nice little gap fill right there. You can see here on IBIT, and we're continuing to climb higher. I'm going to look for that overhead resistance once again at 53.50 because that's where we have the most current open contracts. So that's what I'm going to be continuing to keep my eye on. And Gaurav, exactly. That's the thing, right? Today, even though we have these key levels, just how strong the market is, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some more squeeze leg type price action and run through some of these key levels. We got to keep an eye out on it. You notice that here, I'll pull up my SQ chart real quick. You notice that we couldn't continuously break down and get that move towards the volume weighted average price. And that's what was telling me. These tech names are strong. The leaders are being the leaders. And then you see it reflected here in the market. This is the inverse. We got to move. The primary target would have been the volume weighted average price, but we're not getting there just because the likes of NVDA, Apple, Amazon, Google, and Meta are really, sorry, I don't want to put Meta same with it. And well, Meta's climbing higher. So when they're all working in conjunction, here you go. You can see that the markets can continue to climb higher. And we got some relative strength here, guys, today on the big Mag 7
You know this guy?
No.
No?
No. Who's that?
I don't know. I don't want to say his name out loud, but
yeah.
look at the option. Look at the message. That's what I was asking.
I told you.
I know, right?
I
didn't even say what they were, bro.
Yeah,
I didn't even say what they were. I said they were shoes. How many people list shoes?
Yeah. That's
on Marketplace.
Yeah,
that's
see, I told you, man. People will do some diving and
for your boy Joey Options.
crazy.
Like I thought he knew you or something.
I have no idea.
Local. He's local. Yeah.
Oh, so there you go, local guy.
Right?
We're not going to say your name on there, but
you guys, you're funny, brother. I like you.
You mentioned you messaged Sharif there, so shout out to you. We're not going to.
He knows who he is.
Yeah, you know who you are. But yeah, funny stuff.
Well, I'm not that hard to find, Joseph. It's not like I'm hiding, baby. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have Instagram or anything, so I'm a little bit harder to find. But that's what we want. But you can catch me on Twitter or on X there, guys. So add me at TraderTV Joseph. We're going to post stuff. I'm going to start doing some more options chains posts. Try to get those daily open interest posts out there for you guys to take a look at and everything along those lines. So yeah, that's working out really well.
That's a move, baby. That's a move. All right, OMEX, zigging and zagging. We were they're able to wet the beak still there at 95. I'm still hoping this does drop, hold my level. I will give it to 80 pennies if it does drop, okay? The reason I say that is because that's where the volume weighted average price is, and I don't want to paper hand what could be an explosive trade. It's 116%. It can absolutely rocket above $1 if it gets the right momentum. It doesn't mean it will, right? We have to basically wait and see. So this is currently a breakout trade, a possible breakout trade above that dollar area. It's about getting those money fills. We'll have to see whether we can execute properly on this or not. It does look like it's encountering some resistance, obviously, here in the mid-90s. I did get that 95 and 96 print, actually, 96 print. Now I'm waiting at 97s, and then I will wait well above that dollar for the next print there. So that's what I'm looking at. There's a lot, though, running, guys, so let's get right to it. Over here, there's a lot of breakout trades now that are happening. Pony, P-O-N-Y, finally waking up a little bit over here. Was awfully consolidative since we started the show, and the volume was dropping off to no end. And then, boom, we take out that high at around 710, make a new high day, 7.25 or thereabouts, 723 technically. P-O-N-Y, second day play, guys. This one was moving yesterday. And from the close on, I believe, Tuesday to the current high of the day, we're up 73%. Not the biggest mover, obviously. We've seen way bigger, and today we have, but a respectable move nonetheless. Hard to gauge what the pullback levels are on this. Is it the 20? Is it the 10? Is it VWAP? It's take your pick because it's respected. The 10 at times, the 20 at others, and VWAP at others. So I don't feel like I have a really great read on PONY. Let's see exactly how this one ends up being. TMC as well. I yelled about this one earlier. It's very respectful of the 10, at least locally over here. So I'm inclined to want to work this work in. All right, we got the other print there on OMEX now to the high side at 97. Now it's going to be above $1 before I take anything else out. It's either going to add me, then stop me out below 80, or it's going to take me out through that dollar. We're not going to flatten out. We're going to pack our patience. Let's see which way this cookie crumbles. Bot Yacht Club. No, don't do it. Pony, you saw what happened to me on Pony yesterday. I was complaining to Joe. I executed like a schmuck on it. Like I had good levels. I could have executed well, and I paper-handed the trade. Full disclosure, I executed poorly on it. Maybe we'll execute better on it today. I don't know. Anyway. Back to OMEX here because now it's catching a bit of a bid. 98 pennies in focus. Seller at 98 to be expected. You're going to see that at every penny level, 98, 99, $1, until you can get above that level and really kind of squeeze out the shorts. I don't know if I gave you guys the info on OMEX. If I did, excuse me. Here's the deal. Float, according to Trade Ideas, 23.33 million shares, with the short flow being 7.12%. Not bad, not huge, but not bad either. Let me just verify that on my platform with respect to float. Allow me a second. Market cap of 27 million. It's saying a float of 19.6 million shares, so a little bit smaller than what Trade Ideas is saying. I'm talking about OMEX right now. And so this did wick up. Okay, so it did break $1. It wicked up to 105, Joseph, and I had my order at 108. 105, you would have gotten filled anything all the way up to 105. So this one did breach the high of the day. It did breach that dollar, but true to form, it was met with very aggressive selling, as it typically does meet at the dollar level. That's why I always say these are a different trade north and south of $1. So OMEX did wick up into 105, and by extension of that, made a new high a day. The previous high a day was, I think, $1.04 or $1.03. So definitely focusing on those ones right now. Looking at executing a little bit better here on OMEX if I can. Let's see what we're doing over here on AMBP. We're still taking prints. We're in the money, but by not by that much. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. Holo, right back above VWAP, but still putting in lower highs, so I'm less inclined to want to do anything on that. CEP is losing the bid here, guys. Very aggressive down move here. This is money for the shorts. This is big boy money for the shorts. Look at this. This $32 drop, this flat bottom break through 31 where there was ample amount of support. And now look at this, $26. Here comes 25 on CEP. So it's lost VWAP. It's got a very clear downtrend right now. If you can get shorts here, if you're able to secure shorts on CEP, this is a banger trade right now, and you could realistically see 21. There's some support here from the pre-market at around 6.15 at around $21. You might find support at 20 being the $10 level, so it might blow through that 21. In any event, trade it carefully, trade it wisely. These are dangerous. Adara.
It's actually Jose himself,
bad,
Joseph. Yeah, it's all good, brother. It doesn't even matter anymore, Sharif, because you know why? With Trade the Pool, you can trade real stocks with massive capital and put down $47 just to get started. That's a great tuition fee right there, guys. Only $50. Trade the Pool offers 2 ways to get funded, and both give you access to up to $200,000 of company capital. It all depends on your trading style. The Max plan is built to reward consistency with a smooth path to payouts. The Flex plan is designed to fit you when you need more time and flexibility. Whichever path you take, your risk is capped and your opportunity is unlimited. Join tradethepool.com, scan the QR code, and get 10% off. There you go. We talk about it time and time again. You're going to pay tuition one way or the other. So you may as well go check out Trade the Pool to see if you can pass these evaluations. Even if it takes you a couple times, it's well worth it. But let's see what Adara's up to.
Keep an eye here on the market. Just be aware, Donald Trump holding this meeting here, bilateral meeting with the Norway Prime Minister. I was seeing that this is supposed to start at 1:05 p.m. I guess it started a little bit early. He's answering questions right now. He's only really spoken about NATO, as far as I can tell. But just be aware, Donald Trump answering questions during this bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Norway. Back to you.
Got a good gander on our friend Donald right now. He has his own deadline, guys, for the Ukraine peace deal. Obviously, J.D. Vance coming out yesterday and making some comments there. Here we go. Boom! On OMEX, Joseph. I waited for that 108. We got it. Remember that radio station, Energy 108?
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm ancient, so it's okay.
Energy 108.
Yeah. It was actually 107.9, but they didn't want to say 107.9 every time. It was like Energy 108. I know you remember that, Neil.
Neil.
Hey, there's my guy.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, we're the same age. Anyway, OMEX, taking out that dollar. Now it's a different trade, guys. Okay, so we talked about that dollar being, that key level of technical resistance. Now I don't think we've spent enough time above that dollar that we can say, all right, let's use it as support now. So keep your eye on OMEX. It's up 151%. It's got a $1.13 high a day. It's got umpteen amount of higher lows. It's respectable trend here. Not a bad look. This dip trade, obviously, at 88 pennies means nothing at the moment. Nothing for me to do there. What's going on? Not enough memory. All right, now we're good. All right, my chat just went dark there for a second. It's good to go. So here I really want to execute again on OMEX because we didn't obviously take enough share size. What I really want to see, though, and I want to give enough time to manifest, is whether this dollar holds up as support. That's all I want right now. Now, I could put a dip trade at, say, $1.02, $1.03, and then maybe give it to 95 pennies in case it does dip down below that dollar. Get out of Dodge. Many different ways you can execute on this, but this one is... it's got a good trend under it. It's got good volume. It's a trade de novo. Again, it's not a pre-market runner. This one started running at 11 o'clock. So it's, I'm not saying the best trades are ahead of it, but it's definitely the best trade is not behind it at the moment, like some of these pre-market ones. AMBP, I want to mention this one because I've been involved in it since we started the show. There's certainly, and I won't be convinced otherwise, a seller at 51. Okay. Now, you can see the size posted here at $3.51. Not big. Right? Especially done 5.75 million shares on the day. It's $3. So the seller at 51, I'll submit to you, that's keeping us down is likely a hidden seller.
We haven't. Oh, wow, Sharif. Whoa, what is going on here? Yeah, there's something going on with Apple. We got a big volatility spike here once again in the market, guys. I'm going to hop right out of this trade here. I don't want any part of this volatility right here, especially trying to short this market. So you can see that Apple just got a massive spike right here.
Apple?
Now heading towards the high of the day. Some of these other big names are really starting to go as well too. So there you go, some volatility spike. We're going to wait for Adara on that news because something must have came in, the volume following it as well. That is really, really important. I thought that I was going to be in a good position. You got it?
Some people are saying here, Adara, I don't know if you can verify this. CityBoy305 says Trump announces tariffs off auto. Not verifying that yet. We're still waiting. He repeated again. Let's go to Adara.
Bang, let's go.
So here's the news here. Donald Trump just said that apparently they had a meeting with China this morning, or there was a meeting with China this morning. It's incredibly vague as to what this meeting was, who it was with. He announced this, that they had this meeting, and then he leaves. He says, okay, we're done for now. So it sounds like there might be some more later. He said, oh, we'll see you outside. But yeah, basically right now, just saying that we had a meeting this morning. Again, unclear who was in this meeting, both on the side of China and the U.S., but apparently a meeting was had. That seems to be what's moving the market here. Back to you.
No reporting as always. Thank you, Adair.
Fantastic. So, okay, so perfect example. This is how we can kind of transition into this conversation here, you Manny trader. So essentially when you have heightened volatility comes heightened options premium. And then when volatility is starting to decline, then you can see the decline in the cost of each specific option. But what does this also tell us with heightened volatility is usually with more bearish sentiment in the market. And then when IV starts to cool off, you can see that you start to slowly climb here in the market. So you ask me, Joseph, why is the IV lower on some of these oil futures that you're looking at or something along those lines, but yet it's still steady, like on the incline, sorry. Well, there you go. That's how the inverse correlation works. As IV starts to decay and cool off, that is usually, there's more confidence within the market, and you can see that slow incline to the top side. So I guess that is why you're seeing kind of that inverse correlation, and that's how I would interpret it. I don't know too much about the oil sector, but yeah, that's exactly how I would look at it. But here we go, guys. SQQ, hopefully that helped you out as well, too, a Manny trader. So SQQ, I got to touch on to this, guys. I thought I was going to be able to sell the top of the range here, but sure enough, right? It just is like, okay, boom, volatility spike, see you later. Headline sensitive. I don't want to be shorting this market right now. Let's see what Adair's got for us.
So there's another aspect here to what's going on with Trump and China. We know that he had basically said there was a meeting with China, they had a meeting with China this morning. I guess some reporters asked, who is they? And he said, it doesn't matter who they is. So we don't really know, again, as I mentioned earlier, who this meeting is with, but I just wanted to clarify Donald Trump actually had asked and answered who the they is, and he will not tell us. So we still don't know who necessarily met with China. We also don't have a response from China itself. And in case you missed it, China basically this morning said, or I guess this evening in time with the time zone difference, basically said that they want the U.S. to treat them as equals before there's any kind of deal. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But these comments from Donald Trump, very interesting, especially with the total mystery as to who this meeting was with. Back to you.
Don't ask any questions, Joseph.
I'm not asking any
questions.
Don't
ask any questions. I talked to somebody. You don't need to know who.
I don't need to know.
You don't need to know, Joseph.
No. I don't want to know.
Yeah, get it, Donald.
I don't want to know.
All right. So,
I mean,
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, honestly, Sharif, it's just the headline sensitivity of this market is absolutely insane. Like yesterday, we had 4 or 5 volatility spikes that I've
4
honestly,
years, Joseph.
Yeah, I've never seen that. And
4
then
years.
You get a headline on essentially it's nothing at the end of the day, and then there you go, you get something that just wicks you out. So be prepared for this. I guess there's not much other we can go into it. Yeah.
Biden stock market.
Yeah.
Trump stock market. Think carefully.
Oh, it's not a hard answer at all.
Go.
Again, I would much prefer a more cool, relaxed stock market. I don't want these volatility spikes. They don't do me any good.
Fair.
You know what I mean? And
They're good for intraday. Obviously not for the long term.
I'm going to be frank.
Yeah.
I'm going to be frank.
Go.
I like lower volatility environments.
Fair. I respect that.
It's better for my style. Lower volatility environments tell me there's more confidence within the market. Do we see that much confidence in the market right now, Sharif? I don't think so.
No.
Right?
We don't.
For me, I prefer a more cool and relaxed environment, right? I just thrive more in it. I don't want these massive volatility spikes every minute where you're getting wicked out and then it goes back to right to the mean, and then 20 minutes later you're getting another volatility spike. It's like no. I want no part of that. And with that heightened volatility comes heightened options premium.
Oh,
and you know I don't want to be paying more for my options.
I know you don't.
So no, I'm going to go with the Sleepy Joe environment. I prefer.
We're getting a mixed bag here.
Yeah.
Some
you know
people
what I mean?
saying Trump, some people saying Biden. I hope it's not along political lines. No, that's not where we're at.
No, it's not at all. That's not what we're referring to at all. It's just like, which market do you prefer?
There you go.
And like, I mean, do we have to pull up a SPY? Are the Qs on the daily?
Well, the Katina Man's just returned, so I want to get his intake on this. Input, excuse me. Katina Man, do you prefer a Biden stock market or a Trump stock market? He's not going to answer the question. He's going to tell us something random.
I went from that. I went from the mic.
Curveball.
No, I mean, I think for day trading purposes, I mean, I think what we've been experiencing here since Trump has been in office, I mean, I like it. I mean, the volatility every single day, it's what we're looking for. I mean, we sit here and complain all the time. The market's not moving. We coined that term barcoding. You know, right now, you know, you get in there, you're seeing a stock like Tesla move $20 every day. You're seeing names like Meta, you know, move 30, 40, 50, 5%. The NASDAQ, I mean, when's the last time we came in and the NASDAQ was flat? I mean, every single day we're getting a point and a half.
Exactly.
At least. So for me.
Okay, let me say something here. Let me say something
here we go.
Would you prefer this? Or would you prefer this?
I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, right? I don't know.
I
What
prefer
would
that.
you prefer? Ask me what you would rather prefer. This right here, right? Or this right here? That's all I'm going to say.
But that's
I don't
still
know.
a Trump.
Get it,
Like,
Joe.
I don't know. That's just my argument.
Oh, wait, well, what was the question?
What market would you prefer?
An up or down market? I mean, come on, my guy. Obviously,
Biden
for
or a
investing,
Trump? Well, one is going with the other. It's either would you rather be enjoying this market right here? Why can't I?
So Joe, hold on a second. You're asking me, would as a long only investor, would I rather enjoy a market going up or going down?
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's just make it simple, going up.
Yes.
Now, if you're going to ask me what market I'd rather trade in, it's not even close.
Okay,
it
so
is
now
the
we're
current
going
market.
on two different, but I mean, those are two totally different questions.
Well, that's why I'm asking you. What is the question you want me to answer?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well,
I mean,
again.
What is the question in the chat? What is the question?
Jay, and what we asked Katina, man, the question I asked the chat and asked Joe actually was, do you prefer a Donald Trump market or do you prefer a Joe Biden market? I think there can be two answers.
Right,
I think you can say for investing, things were more calm. The portfolio.
But we're
wasn't
making
as,
America great again, right? I mean, this stock market could get back to all-time highs by the end of the year. And then you would say easily you'd prefer the Trump market because this gave you dip buy opportunities.
Yeah,
You
but
know
how
what
are
I
you
mean?
going to be dip buying if you're already fully allocated in your long-term portfolio?
What about
and
for
going
options?
With a buy and hold strategy.
But what about for your option strategy, Joe? I mean, which one works?
It sucks.
Which one works better?
This market legit. I'm being totally
No,
frank.
me
with
too.
you,
I'm asking.
It sucks because
Okay, yeah.
one, you get these volatility spikes, and two, you're paying heightened premium with the increase in volatility. So it actually legitimately sucks if you are selling options, or even if you're buying them because you are now paying heightened volatility, right?
Right, and it's too expensive, I guess, right now.
Yeah,
as well,
exactly.
Right? So, yeah, okay. So I just came back from and got thrown into this, but thank you
what
for.
happened, Katina, man? Where'd you? What?
Well, yesterday I did weights.
Hey.
Yeah, and the arms were feeling it today, but it feeling good. So then today I did did freestyle, then backstroke, then freestyle, then backstroke, then freestyle, then that's a wrap.
Getting the cardio in, baby.
Doing something
and
like that.
low impact too. It's good on the joints, Katina.
That's exactly what it was about.
Bang.
Yeah.
Bang.
All right, I'm out of here. I gotta go eat.
It's like, yo, I'm eating my food. Get out.
So last night I'm doing some prehab, right? Like just prehab, like
fair.
Just icing my knees and everything. And I use Saran wrap with ice bags.
I heard
around
about
my
this.
knees.
Okay.
So then movement, and then sure enough, Milo goes and starts eating the Saran wrap by my knees, and I had to grab him so he didn't choke on it, and I got an ab cramp.
Really?
Oh, dude. And I started freaking out, and I was yelling at
Did
Selena.
it lock in?
Oh, it locked so hard.
Dude.
It locked so hard.
hate that.
And I'm yelling at Selena. I'm like, help me, help me.
What's she supposed to do?
She's standing there laughing at me. And you know when you're in so much, you know when you're in so much pain, you're laughing too. But you're like, man, yeah, pull up Katina Man's lunch. Get the lunch on there. It's on there. Yeah,
He's gonna bring it over.
So I'm like, my ab is cramped, and I have this dog that's eating plastic. Meanwhile, I have ice bags Saran wrapped to my knees because I've been running, and I'm like, this was not.
He's doing
fun.
10K a day, Katina, man. Talk some sense into your boy, bro.
Joe has issues.
Yeah.
I mean, so we got that. This is a turkey. Which
Let me get a piece of that there.
That looks fantastic, Katina, man. But Katina, man, you have the idea how excellent
put
this
some
food is,
balsamic
bro.
on there,
This is fantastic from like a nutritional. You got everything. You got all the bases covered, Katina,
Thank
man.
you, my guy.
Yeah. Can you flip that side? Show them the
show them the
beans
beans
and everything
and the
like
corn
that.
in
There
there.
you go. There you go, man.
Damn.
more beans on there.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I can
man.
Magical fruit.
Are you sure I can't have a piece of that turkey?
This guys, anytime he sees food, bro. Anytime he sees food, keep your food away from Joseph Wilson.
I will rate it right here, right now, live. You know I have those.
He'll do a live.
No, I'm asking for some of yours. I don't got the turkey. I don't got the turkey.
I love this, man. This is
That's
good vibes. Good vibes. Okay, the big spiled one says, Joe complaining about market volatility makes me think, oh, I can't. Big spile, bro. Big spile, man. I can't read this stuff out there. I got to send it to you. I can't read the rest of it. He's a liability, Big Spile, man. What a guy.
Crazy.
I love him, but he's a liability. Joseph, we're taking some prints here finally on your friend AMBP. If I can show the chart, please. 52 print there. happy with this one. But I'm still holding OMEX at 84 pennies. We're break even on that one. Got back into OMEX over here. It's going to have to hold VWAP. I've got my out below 80 pennies. How many dollars on what?
Amazon.
The Katina man is $4 in the money on AMZN. He's long 181.5. It's printing 185.5. We're going to shout out the Katina man. He took that Amazon long first thing in the morning when the market was pulling back, and he's got big boy shares. We're going to shout him out. Great trade there, Sean. Shout out to you, my man. All right. Keeping an eye here on OMEX, Joseph. I'm trying to pack my patience with this one. 80 pennies is my line in the sand. We're giving this one the old community college try off the volume weighted average price. If it touches 80 pennies and drops, that's the end of the trade. We're looking for 85, then 88, and then I'm going to leave a beak wetter as I typically do for that dollar break. This one's already been above $1. It's got the unlucky number high right now of $1.13. Are you a superstitious guy?
Yeah, I'm a hockey guy, man.
Okay, so can I tell you how insane I've gotten with my superstition? I won't count rep number 13.
That's crazy. So you just go 12.
I don't say it out
14.
loud. I don't say it out loud.
12. 14.
I'm insane, right? Which is fine. It works for me.
Okay, so what do you think the repercussions would be if you were to say number 13
Injury.
on the injury? Boom.
Injury.
Like, torn pectoral, torn
I
thigh.
hate injuries.
Okay.
Because it just takes time out of the games, right?
Joe
Like,
Mama, stop saying hymns. Are you referring to the hair? Come on, man.
Man, guys, I never understand for the life of me why you would want to bully somebody online. Like, I just
No, I don't know if Joe Mama's actually saying hymns or not. But,
but like seriously, I don't say number 13 anymore. And when I do, I get a little nervous.
You get a little nervous?
The thing is, though, my mom's born on the 13th. Ooh. So I feel like it's a good, it's a good in one way and not so good in the other. So that's.
I have a hockey superstition that I follow, Sharif. So I
want to hear it.
I have to get dressed a certain way, or I believe I won't score that game.
Really?
Yeah, even if I were to dress.
Do you do anything different? Like, do you circle the ice a couple of times? Anything like that?
Oh, you know what I never do?
What?
I never put the pegs on the goalie net. That's just one thing I'll never do.
Okay.
I don't get it ready. I don't get the net ready. I could be the first guy on the ice. I'm not touching the net. I don't know what it is. I'm just like, I'm not touching it. I'll shoot the puck at the boards, anything else, and I'll let somebody else adjust on the net and put the pegs on the old hockey net there too. So.
All right, guys, we're doing it live right here. Sharif or Sheriff, whatever you want, Bobby Oxales, baby, you're in charge. You run the show here. We're just out here calling out the plays. No, it's Sharif. It's spelled the French way. That's why it's C, not an S. My parents spoke French as kids, and they want to be extra bougie, and I've had to deal with it all my life. I do apologize in advance. Raheem Alani, baby, how are you? Looking sharp as always. Raheem Alani, guys. Everybody knows who Raheem Alani is.
Fellow Ravens fan as well, too.
Oh, he is. He is a Ravens fan. I
So.
forgot about that. Hey.
Yeah, big game.
Yes.
Big game tonight.
It's big. What the boys are referring to, obviously, we got the NFL draft tonight. Pumped about that. Going to be watching. We'll be obviously complaining about the lack of picks by the Cowboys tomorrow. Don't worry. I got you covered on that. We're going to be talking about that as well. So that's what we're involved in right now, boys and girls.
Yeah, Joe Mama. Yeah, you weren't talking about my hair, obviously. We were messing around with you. We know you were actually referring to
What
him.
happened?
So don't worry, Joe Mama. I got you covered.
Joe Mama.
I know you're my guy. So don't worry about that one there as well too.
I like that.
City Boy, JB, BTC running. How's IBIT options while looking? I told you at 53.50 we might run into some walls there. City Boy 305. You can see it multiple touches on yesterday's intraday session. Go back and you'll see within the first half hour. You're going to see that multiple touches just around that specific strike price. But yeah, and Chris senses, we're not soft around here, man. Come on, we're hard-skinned hockey boys. If you want to see your trash talking, you go on the ice and it's just pure obscenities. Until you're blue in the face, and I got some good chirps, man. I would like to say I got a pretty good chirper. You know what I mean? But
Are you a good chirper? Yeah, you're a hockey guy.
Yeah,
bro.
I'm fantastic.
Of course you can
Oh,
chirp,
buddy,
bro.
I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm fantastic.
Fantastic. That guy's so proud of himself,
I'm
bro.
fantastic.
I love it, man. I love this guy, bro. You're sick,
but
bro.
Chris senses I got you, man. Don't worry about that.
I love it. All right, guys, we're doing it freaking live here on AMBP. Shout out to my man Bovin. My man Bovin is yelling about A or EB. We got that Arab money running here. It's about to take out the day. Well, the local high's at 450, 475, 479, excuse me, the high of day on AREB. I know I'm not showing it, but because I'm focusing on this trade over here, AMBP. We got 46s. We just took out 56, so we're 10 pennies in the money on this one. Let's keep an eye on that. Oh, baby. OMEX bouncing off that volume weighted average price. Next peak wetter, 88s. And if we get 88s, we're going to pack our patience to north of $1 like we did last time. Here comes 87s, hopefully on OMEX. We're doing both of these live right now. OMEX and AMBP. AMBP, boom, print at 57s, baby. Now we're waiting at 58s here. AMBP, we got shares on this one. Let's keep going over here. Here comes 88 on OMEX. 87 and 3/4. 87 and 2/3 zigging and zagging. 4/5 incoming likely. It's got to cross 88s to get the print. OMEX, volume, weighted, average price, support. Keep your eye on this one. It's up over 100% on the day, but keep your eye on that dollar. That dollar is a technical area of resistance. If it doesn't clear the dollar, it's going to be a hard trade. So make sure you are accounting for that dollar in your analysis of the stock. OMEX, the one I'm talking about, guys. Dick Tracy, Yellow Berry Man. Holo, back to VWAP. Shout out to my man there. Let's pull up Holo. I think I still got it on the trading screen. Look, I like your name, Dick Tracy, Yellow Berry Man, but I don't like the volume today on Holo, nor do I like the spready nature of this stock. 61 on the bid, 79 on the ask. We traded it. Did I trade it successfully? No, I didn't. I got stopped out on this one. So I'm 0 for 1 on Holo. I'm going to let this one cook. It's really not for me at the moment. I think I'm focusing on OMEX with more volume, and AMBP doesn't have a lot of volume, but we can certainly execute on this one since it's at the high side. The one I wanted to mention, though, was this one, TMC. This did dip below VWAP. I was considering a volume weighted average price dip trade at around 3 1/3. It lost 3 1/3. It went all the way down to 3 1/5, $3.20. Fine support. Now here's the deal. This one is putting in higher lows. So even though it's not respecting the volume weighted average price as a key area of technical support, it is putting in higher lows. So try maybe, if you're interested, TMC, to pick up something off that higher low. We'll see. Mean Gene Okerlund, SMCI. We got Raheem. Huh.
I just have a viewer on the phone.
Yeah, come. Oh, yeah.
He wanted to talk about copper. He's actually just
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
walk by and go out shooting.
Absolutely. We're gonna do an analysis on copper right now for your friend. Let's pull up the futures contract. Neil, what's the futures contract on copper?
Sorry, what's that?
Sorry, Neil. I know.
That,
Let me put it in. Let me put it in over here. Give me a second. All right, copper index, HG. HG is what we're talking about there, guys. That's a future on copper. Did you know that, Adara?
What, there's a feature on copper?
Yeah?
That's very cool.
Isn't that cool? All right, let's pull up your friend HG over here, Joseph. That's what we're going to do. We're going to load that up. If you can go to my screen, please. There we go. HG. Where is it, Joseph? Copper index. Futures. Let's go ahead and go with the May contract. Since we're almost expiring from the 28th. Let's do some TA. We'll go to the daily. So obviously a bit of a range here. I do very much like this $4 buy area on copper. Look how long this goes back for. It's being used as an area of technical support. This is the copper futures, guys, by the way. $4 on the copper futures, a money fill. Once, twice, OB thrice. Even before it was support, it was resistance, Joseph. It was zigging and zagging below that level. So it was actually below at 3 2/3. And then it would get up into 4 and reject. That all ended, though, Joseph, March of 2024, once it broke that $4 level. So we'll keep an eye on that. And we'll tell you more about copper once we are back from Brendo at the big desk. Who's got a guest?
Thanks so much, guys. We'll continue this conversation on the copper industry. I'm really happy to have Terry Lynch sitting beside me, CEO of Power Metallic Mines and the founder of Save Canadian Mining. I feel like, Terry, great to have you, by the way. Welcome. I feel like this whole tariff conversation has kind of taken a little bit of a step backwards. and is not as in the forefront as we have this 90-day window to take a breath and really, get our wits about us and understand a little bit about, the overall state of affairs. I want to talk a little bit about the industry as a whole. And you and I were just talking off camera a little bit about how things have shifted, how the feeling has shifted, how the demand side has shifted from a high level, maybe just to start. What are you seeing as far as how the industry itself is viewing these potential tariffs? And maybe it's worth saying, the copper industry itself hasn't been targeted yet.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, copper is doctor economy, right?
Yeah.
So uncertainty is bad for any economy. So we have a lot of uncertainty right now.
Right.
So generally, economic conditions are who knows. It's certainly a trader's market. So I think that's a pall on the market of the economic growth, especially in China. But the bigger question, like when you get in, because these things, it's not like we can have a cow producing butter, milk, and it gets butter in a day. Unfortunately, in copper, it's like 10 years, 15 years. It takes a long time to get a copper mine from discovery through the process of producing copper. So these supply issues are big, and the demand issues are big.
Right.
So I think the industry is looking at it and saying, hey, historically speaking, demand is continuing to go up. The two charts that the industry focuses on is population growth and energy consumption per unit of population. Both of those are swinging up to the right and always have been.
Yeah.
And now with AI and all these other factors that are driving it even more, copper demand is going to be through the roof.
Yeah.
So in the short term, will there be some bumps, and possibly with the doctor economy thing slowing down while they sort out the new real world order? Most likely. But will there be ultimately massive demand for copper? No doubt.
That's a great way to think about it. And I think a lot of people maybe don't take the time to realize or just don't think about the simple fact that this is such an integral part of our everyday life. If you walk over to your wall and turn on a light switch, you expect there to be light, but don't really understand the process of how it actually becomes light.
Yep.
And copper is such a huge part of that. Have you seen any sort of shift in demand from different parts of the world or to different parts of the world as preparation, maybe?
Yeah, I was in Washington 3 weeks ago at a big conference with Asian, European, and North American thought leaders, I would say. And certainly because of the tariffs, there's a lot more interest in exploring European opportunities, exploring Asian opportunities, and I think that's going on. Again, it's with the backdrop that internally, America is very much into, we want to make sure America's got supplies.
Yeah.
So their whole thing with Greenland or with Ukraine or even their what they're doing now with the Congo and Africa and stuff like that, they're going to secure their supply base.
Right.
Base metals for sure and rare earth metals. So that's happening as well. So it's an evolving world, but I basically see it sort of setting up where localization as close to home as possible. They're going to be looking to secure their supply base.
Right.
So I think if you're a Canadian producer of base metals, you're going to be in good shape. I mean, the reality is a lot of Canadian metals can be produced. A lot of the Americans got great base metals opportunities as well, but they have NIMBY problems. Nobody wants to build it because it's in Wisconsin and it's got the lakes and everyone's got their cottage and it's been in litigation for years and years. I mean, I think they built like 3 mines in the last 30 years.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. So I think Trump's approach will change things. They'll expedite some things, but there's some things they can't do because they're just going to be tied up in courts. So Canada, as an example, will have an opportunity, I think, to play a key role in supplying them the base metals they need.
When it comes to demand, for a lot of our viewership is south of the border. When it comes to demand, who are the biggest pull, or where do we see the biggest pull on demand for Canadian copper?
Yeah, so for Canadian copper, more than half it goes to the United States,
right?
52%. China, 17%. Japan, 12%. And then the rest of the world, we get the balance.
Right.
So it makes sense that that it happens that way. For logistics reasons, obviously we're close to the United States. They're the biggest consumer market in the world. So, people just need more electric phones, they need more electric cars, they need more electric power, copper wires, new homes, new housing, and so forth. That drives the copper, right? So, you know, as America grows, they use a lot more copper. You know, so it makes sense they're going to use a lot of ours.
You made the reference on the AI side. 10%. Forecasts are looking at 10% of
energy
consumption.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you use a bunch of AI. I use AI, and I noticed the speed has slowed down a little bit. Because a lot of traffic. They don't have the juice. Right. You know, so, and you're seeing, I mean, when you're seeing them do things like 3 Mile Island to secure their energy source, it shows you how profound that the guys that are really writing the big checks perceive the energy shortage. So yeah, it's a real issue.
If a company like yours, for example, if you wanted to ramp up production or maybe pull back production, is that a difficult process? And if so, what does that look like?
Yeah, so we're what we call a development stage company. So we're basically 4 or 5 years out from actually probably having a mine. 5 years is probably a realistic target. So, and when you build that mine output, that's fixed for a couple of years anyway, because it takes time to, you know, put in new crushers and new energy, you know, conduits and all that stuff, and engineering and permitting and whatever. So it's very difficult to, you can shrink it back, but again, you know, when you do cut it back, you're losing staff, there's a lot of mothballing problems. Right. So it's not a very, you know, malleable structure. You know, it's pretty fixed, which is why you see long-term supply contracts, long-term demand contracts, because these are complex systems. And once you stitch them together, it's hard to break them up because it's really disruptive. Right. We saw that this year when First Quantum got shut down with the whole Panama, you know, fiasco. And, you know, that had a lot of implications. That's one of the reasons why copper surged, you know, is it took that big chunk of copper off the market. You know, so, you know, copper's gone this year, you know, $4 to $4.90. You know, so that's been one of the bigger winners in the commodities world.
And as we said, massively volatile. What's the latest here with Power Metallic?
So with us, we've obviously had a massively high-grade copper discovery in Quebec. And, you know, we just raised $50 million with people like Robert Freeland and Rob McEwen and others writing big checks. So we're great for cash. We've got about 100,000 meters worth of drilling coming out. We got over the next 18 months. It's one of the hottest. It was the hottest stock in mining last year in Canada. So you know, I'm on record of saying I think 25 is going to be better. So it is what it is, and we're trading underneath the $50 million issue price. We did it at $1.45. I think we're at $1.30 right now. So as traders, it's a hell of a time to be looking at Power Metallic.
Yeah, volatile pricing right now for the underlying as well, as we said. The one really curious thing I think a lot of people are sitting around waiting for is we talked about the 90-day window when it comes to this delay that we're sitting here. We've seen him already extend multiple different, you know, delays on multiple different assets. If we get to a point where it's another 90 days, another 90 days, another 90 days, you start to see that comfort come back for some investors.
I think you're starting to see it now. Right. I think and I know it's ballsy to say, but I think the bottom is sort of in. You know, I think that people are realizing that, hey, Trump is doing Trump things. Yeah. This is the art of the deal 101. Yeah. You know, I'm going to put out my big bad position front, and then people are going to scramble to get something less than the big bad position, and then I'm going to make my deal, and I'm going to get more than what I originally would have thought I'd get. That's really been his recipe, right? Yeah. So he's following it to a T, and I suspect he will continue to do so. But he's put the big bag position out. He's going to start to reel off some deals here, and then I think the economy starts to bounce back. I mean, he knows he's got a window before midterms. He had to put out the hard medicine now, and the reality is he needs to get things rolling by the fall, early winter. Otherwise, that's going to be problematic for him. So I suspect, you know, again, just macro-wise, that's his playbook.
Right. You founded Save Canadian Mining. Tell everyone what the initiative is.
So in Canada, there's a rule called short market exempt, and it's a rule that your traders don't have, and I don't have, mutual funds don't have. But if you're a hedge fund, you have. And what it allows you to do is become a market maker without a market maker's exemption purview. You know, like so regulators are not watching you as closely as they are market makers. So what happens is we found in our stock and in pretty much every stock across the Canadian small cap universe, massive naked short positions. So people would sell a security that they don't have a borrow on, and people are wondering, where is all this paper coming from? Well, that's how it's coming. It's coming through the short market exempt. So naked short selling is basically counterfeiting. It's like if you had a truck permit and if you sold one truck in one permit and you photocopied it 10 times, sold 10 other guys, you go to jail because that's called thievery. And that's what's happening, unfortunately, right now in the stock market. That's why the Canadian TSXV still is trading at close to and near its all-time low. Yet, a commodity market-wise, we're in a top quartile commodity market, and it looks like it's going to get bullish.
Yeah.
So the structure of our market's been impacted. So Safe Canadian Mining is trying to change the structure of the market, get regulators to actually regulate, to stop this short market exempt so hedge funds don't have advantages over individual traders like your guys or me or any of the pension funds. Like, stop that nonsense. People should all trade fairly.
Yeah.
And that's all we're asking. We're not against short selling. We're against naked short selling.
If anybody wanted more information on that, where would they go?
SafeCanadianMining.com.
Perfect. PNPN on the TSX Venture Exchange. Also in the US, OTCQB, PNPNF is Power Metallic Mines. Terry Lynch, CEO and founder, as we said, of Safe Canadian Mining. Great to have you.
Great to be here.
Thanks for
look
doing
forward to seeing you again, Jim. Cheers.
Brendan and our guest, great information there, and obviously a very burgeoning area.
Terry Lynch there.
Yeah, Terry Lynch, absolutely. And we all know what the critical minerals and critical metals industry is like now that China's kind of putting the kibosh.
Right.
So a lot of these exports with tariffs as well, Joseph. So critical to know this kind of information. And the thing is about these input metals, like, you don't know where they're going to find their way into, what supply chains, what industries. It's so diversified, right? The things that copper is used for. So great information, good to know, and definitely happy that I learned a couple of things over here.
Yeah, I mean, copper's used in a lot of stuff. I remember when I worked for Bell Canada, a lot of the underground infrastructure that we use here is copper, and things have transitioned into fiber optics, but the majority of it is copper, guys. So a lot of it in the ground is still copper, and that's kind of what we have, these large networks that provide us internet and all our services.
There you go.
Are via copper lines. So that's very interesting stuff. I mean, Shreve, this market is really strong, guys, and this is what I was referring to earlier. When we went in for those short signals, if the market wasn't that strong, we would have seen more of a capitulatory type action, but we're not getting that right now. We're holding steady. We're holding some key levels, and I was thinking that yesterday, all right? I mentioned to you guys, hey, we're holding up relatively strong. You can see in the post market we had that positive news, but then we held that trend line almost to a T, and then we get a little bit of a gap down in the market, but then we just fill it right back up. So this is a good signal of some strength in the market, and I really, really like this right now, especially for some of the names that I'm in. I know Pizza Rat's in IBIT. James Dell's in IBIT as well too. You guys like Pizza Rat? That's my guy.
A great name.
Yeah, Pizza Rat. I mean, so that's what it is, and I think maybe we can continue to climb a little bit here. Again, we were down 25% from peak to the current lows in the market, and now we're getting a big bounce here, down only about 15% or so. About 14% from where we're currently sitting at. So yeah, a really good look. Hopefully this recovery can be sustained, and I think some more positive headlines we're going to lead in this current direction. So yeah.
Your friend Ozan wants to know, Joe.
Yeah.
Did you work with Nokia when you were with Bell Canada?
No, I don't think. Not that I'm aware of. No.
That's okay.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because remember, Nokia was one of the ones, I think they were laying out the 5G because they didn't let Huawei do it because they didn't want the Chinese eavesdropping on our conversation.
Well, I know.
Joseph.
Well, I knew. I forget. There's some other like third-party networks would use Bell Canada's lines, but then I believe Telus was using Rogers's infrastructure as well too, and they would use and then Rogers would rent Bell's infrastructure as well.
So what Joe's referring to there is the forced renting of your network by the Canadian government. So the Canadian government through the CRTC, which is the, I think, Canadian Radio and Television something or another, regulator, essentially, they would force the big telecom companies in this country to rent their either phone lines, wireless, whatever, to smaller carriers to make what's it called, a bit more level, the playing field a bit more level. And then now we're getting more investment from Canadian companies in their actual network. Case in point, Joseph, Shaw throwing their hat into the ring there. They bought Wind. Now it's called Freedom, obviously, and now it's got 5G.
Yep, Freedom Mobile.
Yeah, so telecom companies. I feel like telecom companies were a great buy in the late single 2000s, early 2010s, because that's when the big mobile boom was happening. You know what I mean? Like the apps were moving from desktop onto your phone. That whole tailwind there. So I feel like the telecom companies now, oh goodness, are more dividend payers, income generators.
I mean, I don't even, Bell Canada, I don't think that's a good chart to look at.
No.
So,
no.
I mean.
Have you seen BCE lately?
You know what's crazy,
You want to chuckle?
It's crazy, though, because I remember in the early teens, there was like a big fiber optic boom, right? Like, it was that transition from copper to fiber optic cables. And I guess it essentially did nothing because considering like fiber optic is slightly more efficient, you can split the network more easy than you can with copper lining.
Interesting.
But again, a lot of the old networking is still copper lining.
Gotcha. Yeah, we always have these funny ads in Canada. There's two main competitors, Bell, Rogers. That's all you need to know about that, okay? There's others, but the two big ones, the big kahunas, like Neil and Sean, are Bell and Rogers, all right? And Rogers is a cable company, so they use coaxial cables, which are copper. And Bell is a film company, so they lay down pure fiber optics, right? And so they always like to joke, Bell, making fun of Rogers, that their network gets slower, obviously, as more people get on it, and that's the whole thing. It's not really fiber optic. The upload speed is crap relative to real fiber optics. I have Rogers at home, not by choice, because that's what my condo has, and I never have a problem with my internet. No, I have that gig, so I can download up to a gig, and I was maxed out at 20 megabyte upload, and now I was doing the test the other day. I'm hitting 100 now.
Okay, there you go, bang.
So it's not a bad look?
I mean, I'll always be a Bell guy. I don't know what it is. It's just color blue, I guess, like that. And I personally like Bell.
There you go.
They only charge me $50 a month, so there we go.
I
take that one there
good deal too, bro.
For the internet. But cell phone still have to be up there. I don't know how I have an iPhone 13. Well, I've never even upgraded. I got a hand-me-down phone, but I'm still paying $75 a month for it.
Bro, I got. Okay, so here,
that's a nice
200 gigs. 200 gigs
a month,
unlimited.
Yeah.
North America, not North America, sorry, Canada. That's a misstatement. Unlimited text, everything like that. Because I'm with Rogers with my condo. $57 tax included.
Bang. There we go. But I didn't get that. I didn't get the bundle deal. I got the home.
You got to get the bundle, baby. You got to bundle that mother. You know what? Bundle it up, says the Katina man. Guys. We're doing it live here on OMEX. It's taking out 90. We're long 84s. We already had a couple of good trades on this one. We're doing it live again. This is a VWAP, volume, weighted, average price trade. I did give it, full disclosure, guys, I gave it to 80 pennies, which would technically be below VWAP for my stop, but that was my stop. That was not my entry. So the reason I gave it to 80, obviously being the psychological 10 penny level, that was my thinking, not because I was DCing or in trouble with this trade. In fact, I never was. I'm keeping my eye on 80 pennies, and my next out will be above that dollar, or I will get stopped out below 80 pennies. I will not be taking it out. It broke $1 before, and I have a sneaking suspicion we might have another opportunity to take that dollar again. Reason being, we have higher lows. The previous area trough was around 70 pennies. This area trough around 80. So we're putting in higher lows, and we're not necessarily getting higher highs quick as you like, but we are putting in what we need to see for that higher high. At least I'll submit to you that. So that's what I'm doing right now. We're holding from 84s, and I'll be holding to above a buck. Simultaneously, AMBP. We got several beak wetters. Sadly, though, the 61 penny beak wetter went unfilled, despite the fact that this hung out at 61 pennies all the way from 1250 to 105. Are you kidding me, bro? You're not going to even give me that quick print? I'm not even asking for too many shares here, Mr. Market. AMBP, I'm talking about right now. Good look on this one, but still having trouble taking out previous area highs at 361, stagnating in and around there. I don't think I add on this one until the volume weighted average price comes in. Currently, that's around 3 mid-40s, 3 low 40s in and around that region. Let's go back to OMEX here. Is it zigging and zagging above 90? I'm looking for that clearing of a buck, so we're going to pack our patience on this one and see what we get. Pony. Look, Pony is
Going for
the
ride.
bamboozler, brother. I mean, it respects a 20 over here. It breaches it a little bit over here because you have an opening and closing print both below the 20, albeit not by that much. So I think I'm going to steer clear of Pony. I don't think I would have executed well on this because I would have put my out right at a couple of pennies below that 20 exponential. I wouldn't have put it below 90. So I'm steering clear of that. I just didn't execute on it well yesterday, and I don't want to take another shot at it today. My man Mean Gene Okerlund, SMC, he's yelling about SMCI and SOXL. So we're going to look at both of those. How is my friend Super Micro doing on the day? Let's load up Super Micro. Let's see what the situation is. What is it, Adara? SMCE. Adara says SMCE is having a day, and it is. It's up 6.5%. Is it taking out yesterday's highs? Yes, we are fractionally above yesterday's high. We topped out at $35, right at $9.45 there. Then all hell broke loose to the downside. Today, we're right back at that $35 level, having trouble clearing it. 35.08 technical high a day right now on your friend SMCE. Let's load up that ticker there. Excuse me, guys, for not putting in the ticker. So let's keep an eye on that. Good look there, Mean Gene. It's been a hell of a trade. It's either the 20 exponential or the 10. The deeper retracements seem to find support at the 20. While it's trending more, it seems to weasel into the 10. Let's look at SOXL as well. So that's a SOXL. It's the microchip semiconductor long ETF. Is it levered? Is this a levered? It is, yeah, 3 times bull. So it's a levered ETF, meaning that it's going to be a more, I don't want to say volatile, but it moves up more than your regular SMH or whatever the non-levered product of this is. Anyway, we're at high a day, so it looks like these semiconductors running up bigly over here. 1206 high a day, we're printing 1199. Again, another one of those ones that's very respectful of either the 10 or the 20. You typically see that when something is trending quite well on the day. I'm going to show you a quick cursory view of my watch list over here. This is the semiconductor watch list. Nary a red print anywhere. There is nothing red in microchip semiconductor world today. Everything greenery, and we've got some double-digit winners. I'm talking about MCHP microchip. Stephanie Link was buying up a storm on microchip MCHP, as well as that Jenny Harrington woman. She was buying up a storm as well. So MCHP apparently in vogue at the moment. Pi in Pinge. I got rinsed on this one. Full disclosure. Yeah, it's the way it is, Katina, man. On the swing trade account. Bought this bad boy at $160, got stopped out $130, losing $30 a share on this. It's now at the ripe price of $90. I'm talking about PI in Pinge, a microchip name. So keep your eye out on that one if you want to get rinsed as well like me. So shout out to everybody there who wants to get rinsed.
All right, shout out Playmaker Poll too. Shout out Playmaker Poll too, Sharif, because we gotta dock this one up here as well.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to go.
But Belinda, just to answer your question quick, I don't think Netflix is a stock I would necessarily be buying puts on. We'll get more into that here momentarily. But just to briefly answer your question, all right, brother, we're going long.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live here.
I'm ready to go.
Talk to me.
I'm be really surprised if we didn't go long today. All right, 5:45.14.
Bang.
We're taking profits. 5:47.14. We're stopping out 5:44.14.
Bang, and there we go. Yeah, so Belinda, the thing is with Netflix, I think the company's just doing, Belinda, herself, Ty. Belinda and Ty. But yeah, I mean, like the company's supposed to double its ad revenue in 2025. I think it's just, there's too much good going for this company in order to be buying puts. Could there be some short-term downside? Absolutely. But that's just a name I would not be looking to short. I would be looking for something that is significantly more weak, and it's definitely not Netflix. Sharif, I don't know how you feel about that.
Netflix?
Yeah.
What about Netflix?
So someone in the chat asked
Another
us,
high day today, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Someone in the chat asked us if they should be buying June expiration cycle puts on Netflix, and I said I don't think that's the stock you want to have a bearish bias on.
No. Netflix is look, guys, it's making all-time highs in a market that's corrected substantially.
Exactly.
So that should tell you all you need to know. Give you some information on it, guys. We're closing in on $500 billion. Okay, we're 424 billion now, Katina, man, market cap on Netflix. They reported already April 17th. So the report already came and went. So nothing really to tell you about there.
Yeah.
Yes, I did hear about that. So new management, Katina Mann reminding me about this, that the new management is looking to become a $1 trillion company, right? And obviously, you know,
And I like,
easy to say.
but I like Katina Mann's point as well, too.
Go ahead.
I think it would be significantly easier for this stock to hit that $1 trillion if they do a split, right? Like,
That's like literally doubling in value.
Right, right.
Yeah, I agree.
So you have to double
More
in the value.
participation.
Exactly. So, but in order to get more retail participation, I think you need to do a 5-to-1, 10-to-1, or whatever.
Something like that.
whatever
Yeah, and
may
it's
be,
ripe
right?
for it. I mean, it
Right.
doesn't need to be $1,100.
No,
Like, what's
it
the
doesn't.
purpose
It
of
doesn't.
that?
I think it would draw a lot more people like myself into that name if we had the ability. And think about what you can do from a day trading standpoint. For me personally, I'm not going to be trading $1,000 stocks. That's why the likes of NVDA were hot when NVIDIA was hot, and Tesla when it was expensive as well too. So I mean, by all means, that's what I'm personally looking for.
Okay.
Can you? I mean, that's crazy.
What?
Actually, Tesla was around those numbers when I first started trading before it split. It was like $1,000 or $800 or something like that.
Tesla
And then-
split twice since I've been trading.
yeah, exactly.
Twice,
and then NVDA as well too. And it just there's a lot more participation. I think if they were to do that, getting to that $1 trillion goal would be slightly more easy. Maybe even
Joseph,
significantly more.
we've inadvertently aggravated Adara.
Uh-oh, what
And that's
happened?
not something you want to do.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
Adara reads, how dare you guys call for a Netflix split,
Damn.
Joseph and Sharif. Let the spready tickers live their lives. We are sorry, Adara. How dare us want more retail participation. Let's talk a little bit, though, about the fundamentals of this company. The PE currently around 50, a little bit less than 50, 49.59. Sorry, is trading around 22.4. Excuse me about that. I was wrong. 22.4 PE. That's excluding certain items. Their current ratio about 1.39. Let's talk about some other fundamentals over here, if I can. Financials. There we go. Total revenue. 10.54 billion. That's up 12.5%. Gross profit. 5.28 billion. That's up 20%. Operating income continues to increase as well. $3.33 billion, up 27%. Net income. That's their take-home money, guys. They're taking home 3.21 billion. That's up almost 23%. Net income after taxes about 2.9 billion. So they had to pay their taxes there, about 24% year-over-year increase. So good all around. Do you see any major headwinds though for Netflix? Let's be real. So I don't feel that tariffs are really going to be a thing for Netflix. It doesn't seem like it's going to be as affected. Do you see any possible other headwinds other than, of course, reduction in consumer spending? That's always a possible headwind.
I mean, maybe a low-key one, like things like IPTV and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, but that's existed for a hot minute, though, yeah.
Existed for a long time. People cutting back costs. I don't know. Netflix is relatively cheap, and if you're cutting back costs, maybe, I don't know, you're not working as much. So what are you going to do at work other than if you're not at work, maybe read a book, which is always a good thing to do. But
people love that.
Yeah, but I personally do. But a lot of people don't. But other than that, I don't see too many headwinds for this name. I think if they continue with these live sports events, Sharif, and then they get another big headline, like another big fight headline that literally crashes the platform, then
that was a good problem to have, though, huh?
That's the best problem you can have. There's too many people funneling into your platform, and then sure enough, it just doesn't work. You didn't have the capacity for it.
You don't want it to happen too many times, though. You get a bad rep, but
you want it to build.
Yes,
like I'm sure, I think the people at Netflix are probably smart enough to realize, like, hey, if this is going to be a really big event like that Tyson Paul fight, then we're going to be able to
get it right.
Get it right. But again, I don't see too many headwinds for this name, especially if more people are going to be at home because maybe tariffs are laying them off. Then what are they going to be doing at home?
And that's the thing too, Joseph. Like if you're making cuts, right? Like a lot of people, if we get into a tougher economy, let's be real. People are going to cut.
They're going to cut.
Would Netflix? I'm just asking you, Joseph Wilson. Would Netflix be one of the first things you would be looking to cut if you had to tighten the belt?
That's such a complicated question because, again, for me, I could care less if I had it or not. I could entertain myself other ways. But then it goes down I think it's a complex question because it goes down the line. Like, if you have multiple subscriptions, then you can probably start cutting. Is Netflix going to be probably one of the last ones that you do cut? I would say so.
Yeah,
exactly,
I would agree with that.
Right? It's like, okay, like, see you later, Prime. See you later, Disney. See you later, Apple and everything. We're going to hold on to something that's the largest one. So I think this thing is going to continue to grow. And again, this ad revenue stuff, it's like, okay, yeah, so what? You got to downgrade your subscription plan and go to the one where you have to watch essentially the
that's the thing,
the endless
right?
ads, but people are still subscribing at the end of the day.
Well, there you go. All right, I'm just sending the new ticker, Sco, if you could just cover
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we're starting to get a pullback here in the overall market. That's a positive sign, I guess. We don't want to go too parabolic. We want it to keep it nice and healthy, but I'll take it anyways because you know what I'm in. I'm in some of these names, so this feels really good that we're starting to climb higher in NVDA. Bitcoin's starting to pull back, and the Qs are starting to pull back. So it was a nice slow grind throughout the session. So hopefully we don't just absolutely dump here. But I like where we're sitting at here on NVDA. Let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily standpoint as well. I think that we can continue to move. Where am I? Yeah, I'm in roughly right where we're trading at right now on this name, and I'm in my swing account. I'm relatively heavy too, full disclosure. So we'll wait. I'm waiting for like 120. I think that could be possibly a dream. Is that going to come into play? I don't know. Maybe possibly. I know Sharif is like, there could be some more headwinds in this name, but we're still down 30% off of those all-time high, guys. So yeah, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm really going to be excited. They usually report late. They're one of the later reporting names. So I'm going to be looking forward to that to see what's going on, especially with this H20 news in China. And now they're going to need licensing and everything along those lines. But yeah, I'm in this as well.
And you and I had this discussion today. I said to you, like, as much as I respect everything that NVIDIA has done, and it's just been a ridiculous story, as much as I do feel that they are going to be subject to way more political intervention and headwinds. These AI chips, there's so much military application. There's so much, a commercial use for them that you think that the source, America, wants to be protectionist with it, right? Now, whether the Chinese can weasel their own ultraviolet lithography machine, we're hearing a lot of stories coming out right now of China that Huawei has made like ridiculous gains. And it's not just Huawei in China, guys. I mentioned this to you guys last time as well. One of the dark horses in the microchip space is a company that used to be traded in North America under SMICY. It's called Semiconductor Manufacturer of China. This company is apparently, if you believe some of the sources, and I know a lot of skeptics about what China has to say and the information that they release, I'm not gonna take that chance and think that they are, talking out of their rear end. I think that they will make gains. We saw it with DeepSeek. It came out of nowhere. Sure, they used American processors, AI processors. Umpteen amount of H20s, probably smuggled a bunch of H100s, likely from Singapore. We know the Singapore story. We're well aware of that. But I just think the Chinese, it's a necessity for them. And the necessity is a big driver of innovation. It's a big driver of leaps. So
I also like what Katina Man said as well too. Even though the H20 is a lesser chip, again, they lost that China as a potential customer. Huawei's now gained it with that competitive chip. I don't think they get them back, and I think that's what Katina Man said, and I agree with
that. I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, let's see what Adair's up to here, guys.
Go ahead.
This part of the show is brought to you by ProfitX. In sports playing, flexibility is everything. At ProfitX, you can see the order book just like a financial exchange. Pick your spot, customize the odds to fit your risk. Why settle for a single offered price when you can set your own? Plus, our mobile interface makes it easy for you to play on the go. ProfitX, where you call the shots anytime, anywhere. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Guys, still holding OMEX here. We're about 10 pennies in the money as it works its way back into that 95, penny area. I've already taken some out. This is the second trade on it. I won't be taking anything south of $1, so it's going to have to continue. Hey, Neil, it's going to have to continue above that dollar if I'm going to take anything out. Guys, you have the wrong camera on Neil. Neil's empty seat there. So we'll keep an eye out here on OMEX. Still keeping my eye, guys, on AMBP. It hung out at 61s for no end. We didn't get the print. It defends that 50, and now it's back up to 55. So if we're looking at that 50 retracement as an area low, it's yet another higher low, with the previous area low being about 40 pennies, exactly where I got in there, right at that low. So we'll continue to watch AMBP. It's not the biggest mover. It's not parabolic, but it's above VWAP. It's giving you higher lows, and we'll see if it can continue to make new area highs. That is my look there. TMC. I keep saying I'm going to execute on this one, and I don't, because it doesn't set up in the way that, I feel comfortable entering into this one. I like this one for a lot of reasons. We've got a lot of higher lows over here. It's been respecting the volume weighted average price is 1245. So it's almost now 45 minutes of respect for that level, all the while putting in higher highs and higher lows. I'm talking about TMC. The problem is this one's got a lot of resistance in and around that 3.5. Between 3.5 to about 360. Anytime it wicks up there, it's met with aggressive selling, whether it's profit taking or new area shorts. The other side to that is we're getting a bit of a compression pattern. If you were to connect these area highs and connect these area lows, this looks like a bull pennant. Now, the textbooks say that the bull pennant will resolve in the direction of the trend. Need to look at anything other than the percentage up on the day to know what the trend is. That means we're likely, if you believe the textbooks, to get that break to the high side. Whether we take out 375 or not, that's a different story. So what I would say to you, if you're going to trade TMC, and what I've been saying to myself, despite the fact that I haven't been following my own advice, get in on the lower end. If you want to get in that 3 1/3 at volume weighted average price, fine. If you want to wait for that trend line to get touched, even better. That's 330. You'll be 5 pennies more in the money. So TMC, looking awfully good here, but I've done absolutely nothing on it, and that disappoints me. So here's what I'm doing. I'm throwing in the order at 337. We're doing it live. We're gonna sit at 37s. That front runs the 35s of the volume weighted average price, and it well front runs that lower trend line connecting that compression pattern. So I'm throwing out in an order here a dip trade on TMC, not TSMC, excuse me. TMC up 37, 38%, looking for that pullback. Trade to thrive. I'm going to keep my eye on RLMD here for sure if it can take 85 and increase on volume. Absolutely. I didn't dislike the trend trade to thrive. I disliked the volume. That was it. I liked the fact that it was above VWAP. The trend was up and to the right. You got everything there. I just didn't like the volume on that one. Medical Marinera, appreciate your insights on deep sea mining. Hey, shout out to my man there. Daljit Singh, Wolf. Yeah, I had that bad boy up on the side chart. It displeased me though, so we took it off. Let's have a look at WOLF, and then we'll go up to Adara. Not a bad look. So when I was looking at this, it was actually breaking down. I thought it was going to break down below VWAP, but this is a good look. It's light on volume, but it's up 21%. It's at the high of the day right now. There's not much bad you can say about this one. It's either the 10 or the 20. Take your pick. It doesn't even touch VWAP. I'm talking about the 10 or 20 moving exponential moving averages on the 5. Fantastic look. It's going to work its way back into the side chart. We're going to Adara.
We have heard a lot about tariff negotiations lately. We just had Trump saying that his team spoke with China, but he specifically said they talked to China. So who are they? Trump did not say, but it is worth noting here, I think, taking a look at Trump's trade team. Here are the 5 leaders really at the helm of the trade part of the Trump administration. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce. We have Jameson Greer, who is the U.S. Trade Representative. Kevin Hassett, the Director of the National Economic Council and one of Trump's chief economic advisors. And then, of course, Peter Navarro, who is the Senior Counselor for Trade and Manufacturing. So I find sometimes it's helpful to put a face to the name, especially when we have so many names running around here with regards to trade. So if you want to take a look at this, go on X at TTV Research. We have a host of infographics for you every single day. Back to you.
Look at my friend Robin Hood. Look at my guy Robin Hood down here. I don't know what I was saying about this name a long time ago.
Remember we talked about this one today? ROBN, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe this?
The 2X. Yeah,
there's a 2X ETF,
it's like
a
half
levered
the price
ETF.
at that on a $47
It's crazy. Who would do that? Why would you need a Robin Hood levered ETF?
I don't know.
It's
man. There. Isn't there a Palantir one as well too?
I'm
but
sure
I guess that thing's $100.
Palantir's a different beast.
It's $100 now. I mean, but back in the day. But I mean, guys, I was talking about Robin Hood from a long time ago, especially after that previous earnings report. I'm like, I got to get involved in this name.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's a lot of potential in this stock. So now we're trading at $47. I started grabbing some in here, and then I grabbed a little bit more down here, and I'm going to just continuously add to this name. I really like Robin Hood, up to 47 and change here now. So been waxing poetically Sharif about this for quite some time. Hopefully, I know a lot of people in the chat. You know what? Actually, it was a mixed bag about Robin Hood. I noticed that when we were talking about it the other day, Sharif. Some people loved it. Some people hated it from what happened to them with the GME and everything along.
Yeah,
but that wasn't necessarily Robinhood's fault, but here we go. Again, up to 47 and change. Going to be knocking on the door of 50 almost here soon, guys, and I think it will continue to climb higher.
Let's go, Joe, says Nate's Best Buys.
Let's go.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, he wants IBIT to continue to go higher. He said, Joe, can you get IBIT to go higher? I said, my friend, if I could do that, we would be sitting
high all day.
Yeah, it'd be like $10 million, and I would be on a yacht somewhere. But unfortunately, I don't have the sailor power.
Hold on, but we've talked about this the other day. We talked about possibly working out of all the equity positions and going.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude.
Gung ho.
Oh, dude. You know what's funny
Into
about
BTC?
that? Yeah. You know what's funny about that? So
What?
I told you that Google's my second largest holding.
Yep.
And I was looking at my long-term portfolio the other day, Sharif, and I was like, do I just close it, sit on this cash, and then when Bitcoin really starts moving, just you know what I mean? Just go for the dream. Honestly, I was this close to doing it, man.
Look,
I'm
dude,
like, man.
I'm just going to say what I personally believe.
Yeah.
I think the moving hen has written.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is going to be what we all think it is. Not on our timeline, though.
No, absolutely
and
not.
that's-
There's no way they'll
getting
outweigh
it
it.
right is tough, right?
Yeah.
But I think this goes in one direction. Again, not financial advice. I'm speaking in my own opinion. So why am I saying all this? Because I think Bitcoin has minted more millionaires lately in the last decade and a half than many other things, I think. Just based on what the price was versus what the price is. Now, there's been a lot of bamboozlement.
Absolutely.
Case in point, 2018. What it hit to 2018, almost got to 20,000, right?
Something like
then
that,
dropped
yeah.
back down to what? Single digits.
When China banned it or something.
Remember that? No, it was even before that.
Was that before
it was even
China
before
banned
that?
it?
Yeah. Before the mining ban. The mining ban.
The mining ban.
Yeah, I'm losing it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, well, again, honestly, I'm going to be frank with you guys, man. Whenever, like, stocks haven't been working for me or anything like that, I just bought more Bitcoin, and it worked. Can it be a fluke? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Is there any skill involved in that? Probably not nearly as much as luck.
Well,
but
patience and discipline is a skill.
Patience was key. Yeah. I mean, I didn't adopt it as early as some individuals, but once I really started to learn about it, and I've seen people like really start funneling into it, is when I was like, why not? It's done wonders for me, and I'm thankful for it. And I'm just going to continue to stick to the things that have worked. So,
I agree.
I'll do that. So.
And I don't want to go 100%, but I definitely want to allocate a large part. And I keep saying that, and I haven't even added into my IBIT.
Well, dude, I'm like,
I haven't, and I dropped down into 75.
Full disclosure, I'm probably about like 70 to 80% Bitcoin.
That's
Like,
okay. So you're a
Like,
lot more exposed than I am.
Yeah, I'm like heavily exposed, man.
Good, bro. Then it means you're gonna have more upside than
well.
I
I told you I was buying IBIT at the IPL. I was buying actual Bitcoin on CoinSquare.
Remember that, yeah.
A long time ago, and then I remember when I was just kept selling, and the transaction fees were just absolutely through the roof. So I was excited when. Yeah, but you know what though, Fabian?
Tell him what he said though. Like,
okay, Fabian said we can ride our Bitcoin yachts when that time comes. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think that exponential growth is obviously behind us right now in the rearview mirror.
Really? I don't know.
But Sharif, when you go from something that's $1 to 100,000, you're not going to get that same return.
I don't know,
right
man.
now.
I just think it just goes one way.
So you think that Bitcoin at some point goes to 100 million or $1 billion?
No,
There's no way.
Not
right?
in our lifetime.
No.
Not in our lifetime. But I think it probably does go to that 250 that everybody's been talking about.
I think in our lifetime it goes to $1 million.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right?
In our lifetime?
Yeah, because the majority of it's already mined. The last little bit of whatever's left is going to be at 100 years after we were off this earth. So yeah, I mean.
And to be fair too, it's like, let's just say it gets used as a currency later on. Obviously the volatility prohibits it from being, or prevents it from being a real currency alternative at the moment. But when we're talking about like the prices, I don't know, let's just go anything here, $1 million, right? Do you think it gets a bit more stable?
Well, that's exactly what I was just going to get at. At some point, it's going to become more stable, right? Because if everybody's really true hodling and it's mined, it becomes more of a store of value, I believe, at the end of the day, and you get that price stability.
And the thing is, too, as people become more suspicious and the world becomes more or less globalized. And I feel like that's kind of where the tailwind is going. Less globalization, more, you know, looking to go domestic. The problem with that is then you have less of a global currency or anything that you can transact with that kind of crosses over borders. Sure, you can send money via SWIFT and all that kind of stuff, and there are other ways to do it. But the point is, right, it's going to be that decentralized one, that one that is not controlled by the government. What's up, baby?
Hey,
You don't like Bitcoin, do you? No. Yeah, you don't like. He doesn't like Tesla. He doesn't like Bitcoin.
I mean,
he craps on everything.
Like domestically, it's fine. You don't care. We can e-transfer states. You can Venmo, pay, whatever it is. But once you get into that international game, it's just significantly easier to trade with somebody or convert currency who's we're sitting here and they're over there in Asia or Africa. Or
can I give you an example of why I feel this is the case? Stripe. It's a private company. They are talking about going public, but they're like a kind of a PayPal, a better PayPal, a more modern PayPal. Those two guys that run Stripe, they were on all in. They gave the full picture of what they were doing. I liked what they had to say with this kind of Stripe coin. I don't know what it's called, but it's a Stripe specific coin. And what's good about it's like one of these stable coins where you can transact in it. Right. So if you're making, let me give the point. Right. So if you're selling overseas and you're making money, let's just say in yuan. Okay. And you want to convert that back to US dollars. Well, if the yuan weakens against the US dollar, then there's a bit of a currency headwind. So then what we always hear these companies report, oh, we have a Forex headwind of around $2.5 billion. Well, guess what? When you're sending it back in Stripe coin or whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called, you're not losing that unless you convert it back to US dollars. And you don't have to convert it back into US dollars. You can continue to transact in that coin. Right?
Fair enough.
So that's my thinking
about that. And that's where
that.
stable coins are coming really into play as well, too. I think stable coins are going to be a great, efficient way.
Yes, that's another really good point.
To transact money. Guys, but Kurt Sanders, our guy, $5 super chat. Bitcoin haters are so funny. If they had one Bitcoin, they would sell for $90K and not be a hater, but excuse me, instead, they keep on hating. There's a lot of people chiming in on the chat. We're going to go through some of these comments here in the chat, but right after we get back from Madeira here, guys. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, guys, let's go through some of these comments on what we're saying. Nate saying, be like Joe. I wouldn't necessarily. Why not MSTR instead of Bitcoin, says Mr. Plow? Because I want the actual direct exposure. I don't want to own Mr. Saylor himself, but we're going to send it back to Adara.
This part of the show is brought to you by eSignal. New traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right, we're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform is everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights. Game-changing charts, predict with back testing, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Do not miss out. Execute your best trades now. Also, Amazon and NVIDIA are going to be on watch here. Basically, a couple minutes ago, I saw this circulating on X. What happened was, I guess there is this HAM Institute for American Energy conference. So this conference organized by this institution, both NVIDIA and Amazon execs were there, and they both said that they're actually not seeing any significant change in data center demand. They're saying it's not slowing down. Now, this is significant because we had earlier this week reports that Amazon demand for Amazon data centers had slowed. Apparently, they were doing less co-location, according to some analysts. Microsoft earlier this year as well, there were some reports of slower data center spending. But Amazon and NVIDIA executives at this conference both saying they're not seeing any slowdown in data center demand. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. All right, guys, we didn't do the news today, so let's go ahead and go through the main headlines. We already talked about what to expect after the bell today for Alphabet's earnings, a.k.a. Google. We talked about that. You can screenshot this or pause or whatever and have a look at it. Let's talk about Tesla, though. All right, this was unexpected today. We did not come in expecting any of this headline. Apparently, they've launched a supervised full self-drive ride-hailing for only their employees in Austin and the San Francisco Bay Area. They've done about 1,500 trips so far, totaling about 15,000 miles driven. Not a bad look there. They released a video on their X account, Tesla_AI, showcasing how the user interface on the ride-hailing app works. We had talked about this. We're like, how are they going to do this? Is it going to be a ride-hailing app or is it going to be a Tesla app? How are they doing it? Now we know. So there's already a user interface being shown online, a video of it, of the ride-hailing app. You saw features like vehicle assignment, trip booking, mission control operations. Tesla says that the rollout will help develop, obviously, and validate these key systems, including the FSD neural network, the remote assistance, and app functionality. So we'll keep an eye out on that. I like the first step. And by the way, guys, I have a video here on my favorite social media platform, TikTok. And apparently there's a guy who flies the drone, his drone, around the Austin facility of the Gigafactory all the time. And apparently what he's looking to do is to see whether anything's out of the ordinary, any new kind of shaped products. Make a long story short, he thinks he's got, and I'll show the video in a second, the kind of the molding of the robo-taxi kind of overlaid it as well on the robo-taxi. It fits well, and there's a lot of them. So it looks as if we're already getting some pre-production molds for the robo-taxi down in Austin. More on that in a second when we get back to Tesla. Let's move on, though. IBM reported today. Very interesting. It was not a good look. Down aggressively in the pre-market. Where's it at right now? Let's find out. Just let me look quick before I go on. Did we recover or not? No, we're still down 7 1/5. So the decline follows news that 15 different federal contracts were all suspended, resulting in about a $100 million loss in their consulting revenue. These are cost cuttings that are tied to Doge and the cost cutting efforts by the Trump administration. Keep an eye on that. The suspended contracts account for only a small share of IBM's total consulting backlog, but they do signal a vulnerability in the IBM's government contracts as well as larger enterprise contracts as well. Consulting revenue on its own, despite separate from the government contract cancellation, that fell 2% year over year. IBM, though, did reaffirm its target of 5% revenue growth for 2025. What else here? Okay, we'll keep going. Texas Instruments, widely considered to be a bellwether for the microchip space because they have so many different clients and very diversified clients in many different sectors. They did quite well. Let's have a look at how they're doing on the day right now. TXN is up 7 3/4, kind of the opposite look of IBM. EPS easily beat Joseph, $1.28. The street wanted 107. Revenue of $4.07 billion. Again, handily beating that $3.91 billion the street wanted. You got strong performances, helped by sequential growth in the industrial segments, which broke a 7-quarter decline. Looks like their industrial segment was kind of weak there, so keep an eye out on that. They reiterated their positive revenue guidance for June. They're guiding about you can see there, 4.17 to 4.53 billion, which was higher than what the street wanted. The street wanted 4.1 billion. The management, they made some commentary. They described the business environment as highly uncertain due to tariffs, due to geopolitical risks. The management did note that no near-term revenue impacts from tariffs are going to be realized, but they did flag the unpredictable nature of moving forward. When asked whether customers may be front-loading orders, this is really important here. When asked whether customers may be front-loading these orders due to tariff concerns, management said they do not receive that level of transparency from clients. I call BS on that. They know something here that they didn't want to guide. Clients always tell you exactly what they're doing, and I don't believe that at all. So, take of that what you will. Again, Texas Instruments supplies analog and embedded chips to a wide variety of industries, and as a result, they have over 100,000 customers considered a tech industry bellwether. Believe that if you want. Now, the China story. So your friend Donald got on the mic yesterday and was like, look, the deal with China, a lot closer than you may think. No, says the Ministry of Commerce out of China. He declared there are absolutely no trade negotiations going on with the U.S. Spokesperson He Yandong said any reports of progress should be dismissed. China's stance is as follows. Talks will only happen if they are treated as an equal, and if the U.S. remove these unilateral measures like Trump's new tariffs. So those are the demands or prerequisites, so to speak, that they want. Now, to be fair, we did get more information today that a call did happen. This happened after I made these notes, obviously. Donald Trump would not tell us who in the Chinese government he spoke with today, but according to him, there were talks. So analysts say China is pivoting kind of away from meeting U.S. demands to protecting its own core interests, like a what I need versus a what you need approach. The emphasis by China, apparently, is going to be on looking to fulfill the demand within its own internal market rather than kind of focusing on an export-driven production. So we'll have to see about that. This is what caught my attention, though. China is now also threatening countermeasures against any nation that aligns with the United States against its interests. So this is going to be really interesting here. So if you take America's side to the detriment of China, they may come after you. So keep an eye out on that. American Airlines as well, really interesting here for the whole airline industry. Interrupt me if you have to, by the way.
Yeah, if anything starts going
Yeah.
on, I'll definitely engage.
This was really interesting because they're completely withdrawing their 2025 forecast. Why? They're saying the economic unpredictability. This move follows, obviously, Southwest that did the same thing. Same thing with Alaska Air, reflecting industry-wide volatility. The carriers apparently are grappling with weaker consumer demand, weaker consumer confidence, a reduction in discretionary travel spending. So a bit of a tougher look there. Now with their Q1 results, they missed everywhere. Net loss, $473 million, way wider than the $312 they lost last year. $12.55 billion in revenue. That was slightly down year over year. EPS as well, $1.70 to $2.70. They already withdrew that. They're not even guiding that anymore. So a bit of a tougher look for the airlines. We'll keep an eye on that. Chipotle. This was a miss. Your boy Brian Nickel leaves there and then it all goes to hell. So here's the look. 29 pennies in EPS. That was slightly better than what the street wanted. They wanted 28. Revenue did miss, though. $2.88 billion in revenue, $2.95 billion expected. Here's where it all falls apart. Same-store sales down. First time ever since 2020. I wonder why. COVID. Transactions also fell 2.3%. Net income was up because they were able to shore up costs, $386 million, up from $359. The new CEO, this Scott Boatwright guy, cited consumer pullback due to economic uncertainty, especially from February onward, hence tariffs. Weather disruptions apparently were also not good. And burrito season, didn't even know there was a burrito season, was apparently delayed due to a later Easter. This is what gets me interested, though, the inflation and how that may affect Chipotle. So look at this. Avocados are especially vulnerable. They bring in about 50% of their avocados from Mexico. And unless those are going to be exempted under the USMCA, they're going to have to pay big boy tariffs on those. They're also, for whatever reason, I don't know why, Joseph, they're worried about aluminum tariffs. I don't know how aluminum factors into their business, but
Yeah,
the foil.
Yeah.
Adara, that makes absolute sense. The foil. Do they actually give you foil?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
That's what it's in, yeah.
There you go. There you go. I don't eat there, so I have no idea. But that absolutely makes sense. Thank you for that, Adara. Intel reporting after the bell today. This is going to be the first report since your boy Lip Bhutan took helm at that company, Neil. So we're going to have to see what your boy Lip Bhu has to say. So Intel reporting today after the bell. The company's undergoing, obviously, a massive turnaround. Lip Bhutan, that is, recently acknowledged Intel has been too slow to adapt and they must do better, obviously. So here's what the street's expecting. We're looking at earnings per share of 1 penny. At least it's not a loss. We're looking for 1 penny EPS. Last year was about 18 pennies in EPS. Revenue, we're looking at 12.3, which would be a reduction of what we printed last year on the quarter, 12.7. So a drop there. But Intel has weathered this storm, so to speak, this year. It's only down 2% year to date, but year over year, it's down 43%. Here's what we're expecting in their different segments. Client computing, supposed to be down, $6.9 billion, down from 7.5. Data center and AI, also going to be down 2.9 from 3. These are all expectations, guys. Their foundry business as well, expected to continue to lose money. We'll keep an eye out on that. Tariff impacts. Again, we got to keep talking about tariffs. Though Intel fabricates most of its chips in the U.S., its PC business.
Okay, yeah,
go ahead.
Sure. Okay, so I've seen someone in the chat call this one out here. SMCI still going absolutely parabolic here on the day. Some good price action, good call out here in the chat there, guys. So Tobbs T, way to call this out. That volume is most definitely there. But again, nothing crazy from a daily standpoint. But there we go. Good call out there on SMCI. I do believe that the majority of the move has gone, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
As you can see, that we're climbing into 36s now. Wow. So yeah, that's some nice parabolic type.
That's greenery.
Yeah, that is a lot of greenery on that screen. So here you go. You can see I was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 straight green candles here on Super Microcomputer. But I mean, if you look at the grand scheme of things on this name, Sharif, it's not really too much. I mean, but we'll take a couple percentage points. If you have been long this name, it's a solid session here, up about 7% or so. So there we go on SMCI. And this is what I'm looking at.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the market, and it's just so strong. The shorts are going to be much more tough. I don't know if you're going to get that mean reversion here today. You possibly could, but maybe it's going to be closer to the imbalances or something along those lines. But you can see that SMCI still continuing to move to the top side, up 9%, Sharif, if you want to finish it.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that to attention. That's super important, Joseph.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. All right, so the tariff impact, guys, if we can go back to my screen if we can. Very interesting over here because, as I mentioned, Intel makes most of its chips in the United States. However, its PC business, still an important business for them, very vulnerable to Donald Trump's upcoming tariffs, especially on China-made laptops and PCs. And there's a substantial amount that are made in China. Laptops, to be fair, are currently exempt, but duties could be placed on at any time. He did exempt them. We know that. Back, I think, a couple of weeks ago, so we'll have to wait and see how long that stays in place. Bernstein analyst Stacy Rascon, she's forecasting a pull forward of PC sales ahead of that April 2nd Liberation Day tariff announcement. So what she's saying is, or maybe a guy, because Stacy can go both ways, that a lot of people would have been buying these PCs from China ahead of the tariff day, April 2nd, to kind of get around that. So we could see some front loading of revenue, and that can skew things somewhat. So be on the lookout for that. All right, we're going to go to Adara in 1 second. We will talk about Comcast and their decent report in a second. Okay, so we'll keep going on Comcast over here, guys. Very interesting look. Adjusted EPS beat, revenue beat, net income was down, but their adjusted EBITDA was up 2%. Here's what kind of got my attention. Look at this. Broadband losses. 200,000 customers canceled broadband. 427,000 cut cable. And we've been seeing this consistently. Despite the losses, though, guys, domestic broadband revenue was up 1.7% because they were able to shore up costs. We'll talk about their mobile revenue in a second.
I just want to remind you guys here, thank you, Sherry, for putting this out. This is going to be the first Intel earnings report under new CEO Lip-Bu Tan. But how did the stock do under its previous CEOs? I made this infographic a while ago, just reposted it here on X. I went back as early as 1998 to see how the stock performed under a host of its CEOs. First, we have Craig Barrett here. Again, this is not the first CEO of the company. This is just early as back as I could go in terms of the start and end dates. Craig Barrett here, 1998 to 2005, up about 30%. Then we've got Paul Otellini. He was the CEO for about 8 years. Stock was relatively flat during his tenure. Then we get Brian Krzanich, by far the best CEO for Intel from a stock performance perspective and from that perspective alone, because the stock went up more than 100% during his tenure. Unfortunately, he did resign in disgrace. Then we had Bob Swan come in. He was there for about 3 years, about an 18% increase in the stock at that time. Pat Gelsinger comes in here. He's there for about 3 years here, under 3 years. They got a 61% decline in the stock, leaving David Zinsner and Mary Johnston, or MJ Holthouse, Michelle Johnston, MJ Holthouse, to take over here for a couple months as interim co-CEOs. As Sean mentioned previously when I showed this infographic, their losses under them could possibly also be attributed to Pat Gelsinger, but I wanted to include them as their own entity for the sake of this infographic. We'll have to see how Lip-Bu Tan fares for the stock, but either way, I think a pretty interesting look. It's also interesting too, the CEOs that started in May generally had a better stock performance. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Could Lip Bhutan fare a little bit better if he started a couple months later? We'll have to wait and find out. But check out the earnings tonight with Sean, Sharif, and myself on the Market Recap Show at 4 p.m. Eastern. And check out all these infographics on X at GTV Research. Back to you.
Adara,
IDG.
what did that Brian guy do? You can't just leave us in suspense.
Inappropriate relationship.
Okay. All right. Get it, Brian. All right, let's continue to talk about what we're talking about.
Whoa.
What happened,
Our guy
Joseph?
Nimrod here, though.
He dropped the money.
What is it? What currency is he?
I think
telling
that's
us again?
actual shekels.
Shekels.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Had to share. Yesterday, I revenge traded AREB. Bought 10K stocks at 350. Stop loss didn't get triggered until after market, turning a 9+ K to a 13K loss. Decided to hold on, hoping it bump in the next weeks. And today sold it at $4.40. Don't recommend this. More luck than brains.
Look, I'm not going to say more luck than brains, but I'm very happy for you, Nimrod. Obviously, you're a great viewer of the show. But yes, you are absolutely right. These small cap gappers, they are around for a good time, not a long time. So you don't fall in love with the story. It's a trade, right? Did you want to say anything else?
No, that was it. I'll talk about the market here. I'll happily talk. Do you have more to cover there?
I got more, but go. We can take a little bit of break here.
We'll take a couple minute breather here to see what we got going on, guys. You can see that we're just continuously climbing higher. Let's go NVDA. Don't try to short anything just yet until those signals display themselves. We've already blown through a couple of them. We'll pull them up here on the cues. Like this is where we got a little short here, and then we tried again and got that move. But you can see just bought right back up, and now we're gonna go and test the high day once again. So this market is really, today's session, I should say, is extremely strong, and I'm happy with that as NVDA continues to climb. Now north of 106. So I'm gonna hit the bang and the props up for myself, even though I don't even have it. So we'll just we'll send it to the line with Jerome Powell, and there we go. So that one's working out really, really well. And IBIT starting to pull back in, which I didn't exactly love, but that's okay. We're still heavily in the money in that one. I told you we started buying it when we broke that trend line, and we're going to continue to buy more, like Mr. Michael Saylor himself. Yeah, more. I need more. Small potatoes, small potatoes. For those who know what that is from, first person in the chat gets a big shout out if they know what small potatoes need more is from. But here we go. NVDA, loving this. I do believe that we're going to continue to climb higher. I'm still waiting for somebody in the chat to tell me what that is from, but here we go. Liking this market here today, especially if you're a part of the longs, but let's see what Adara's up to.
The bilateral meeting here between Donald Trump, president of the U.S., and the president of Norway, Jonas Gahr Store, has finally begun about an hour after it was posted. This meeting was supposed to start at 1:05 p.m. It's now almost 2 p.m., but Donald Trump and Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store are finally having this this bilateral meeting at the White House. If there's anything market moving from here, I'll let you guys know. But again, we only have a few minutes till the rundown starts, so we'll have to wait and see. Back to you.
Yeah, for that, no one in the chat knew who Dooley is from the movie Blow with what's his name?
Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
sick.
Blow.
Movie.
There we go. So I said it already.
Sad movie
at the end,
bro. That kills me. Yeah, because she turned her back on him, obviously, and that was dark.
And it's
one of my favorite movies, by the way.
The sickest movies. Well, then you should have known more. We need more small potatoes.
Yeah, well, I'm not like a die-hard.
Dooley,
so I don't have it memorized.
It's funny. No, my friend and I used to have back in high school. Used to have that movie on repeat in the background.
It is a sick movie, bro. It's kind of a tragedy if you haven't watched it too. So it is a little sad to watch, but the nature of the beast, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Part of that game. But yeah, just back to these markets, guys. So really, really strong session. Apple now breaking through that high day, Sharif. So you can see this sideways, this eastward price action. This is a choppy mess to sit through, but you can see that we're now breaking through some of these highs. So that's a really, really positive note. Let's take a look at the options chain to see what it's telling us, because right now it's not really coming into play. We're coming in on some key levels, Sharif. Okay. And we're blowing past them. We're grinding past them. So there we go. We might get some squeeze leg type price action, but again, tomorrow, a lot of these contracts expire. 210 may be in the works here on AAPL, but then I didn't see this earlier. Up to 220, we have about 50,000 open contracts, and that's the exact same thing that we're sitting at this 210 strike price. But what really has really grabbed my attention is that we're continuously climbing here in NVDA, and I know I've been talking about a lot, but 107 has quite a bit of open contracts, and we're slowly growing at that 110 strike price with about just under 100,000 open contracts. So let's see if we can really start to grind up to those levels. I mean, we've gone through some big numbers already, 106 with 82,000, 107 with 69,000. I was saying this earlier, there's a lot of overhead resistance, and for us to continuously grind like that, that's a really positive sign for the market. So hopefully we can sustain these moves and continue these moves into tomorrow, and then we can get one of those rocket type Fridays, which might be in play, especially if traders start hedging and everything along those lines. If those contracts become in the money, it's like, what do? You got to protect your downside at that front. So I'm really looking forward to I guess today's not even done, but what we can see on the chain and what it's telling us leading into tomorrow's expiration cycle, Sharif.
All right, guys, the Donald Trump Q&A has started. Here it is. He's doing it live, baby. This is live right now. The Donald, the orange one, taking questions in the Oval Office. Get ready for the volatility, okay? Because you don't know what the hell he's going to say, what he's going to talk about, what question he's going to be asked. And we've seen this story before. He is the market mover now. It used to be Papa. Now, you know, him and Papa are dueling fast. Who can move the market more? So Donald Trump Q&A started. Who is this guy, Adara? The Prime Minister of Norway. Thank you, Adara. The Prime Minister of Norway with him there in the Oval Office. Obviously, the press gallery beyond or behind the view of the cameras, but we've seen this before. There's umpteen amount of them. They're all launching questions at him. He doesn't really shy away from these questions, so any industry can get affected here because any question can be asked. So get ready. Volatility Central incoming, possibly. Donald Trump starting his Q&A right now. So there it is. You know how we do, Others Inc. We give everybody nicknames around here, man, and lovingly. No nickname that I've ever assigned to anybody on the show has ever been like in a bad way. It's never been pejorative. It's always been in a nice, funny, loving way, and the Orange Man is just that. He chooses to be that color, so good for him. All right, Joseph, it is now 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, man.
It's 2 o'clock. So I'm going to weasel my way over to the green screen. Leave him a thought.
Yeah, the ab cramps suck, especially when people are just laughing at you.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, guys. Same bat time, same bat channel. The Big Kahunas are next. I'll see everybody at the green screen.
Must have missed something with the ab cramps suck. Clearly, I guess I didn't hear that story. Joe, you'll have to fill me in at some later time. But